Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Future Whales podcast. This one we're calling the big one, which I hope is a reference to our update here and nothing else, but you can take it how you choose. And anyway, we're coming at you on Wednesday, the 29th here of November, 2017. And I am your host, Brendo Macabo, with the rotating panel that now includes Thane Carell, Furious, Sith Knight, and Valen. We have quite a monster of an episode. And we're going to be covering a lot of things. The first thing we're going to talk about is actually like real Star Wars stuff. Then after that, we're going to talk about all the game updates, and we're going to have a lot to chew on there. Then next, we're going to be doing a community spotlight, a video that Arnold had, which is pretty funny. Arnold, mobile gamer, and then we're going to go through where we're at in the game. And Valen, take it away here.
Right, so we've got a few new things to talk about in Star Wars news. First up, the new trilogy. So there's a new Star Wars trilogy coming, directed by Rian Johnson. If you didn't know, he's the guy who directed The Last Jedi, the movie that's coming very, very soon. We're all excited about. And Disney basically, told him, we really love The Last Jedi. We want you to do a trilogy, man. So he's got a new trilogy that he's going to be making. He's going to be directing it. He's going to be writing it. He's going to be writing the scripts. He's going to be writing the story. He's going to be from start to finish. It's his baby. So it's going to be really interesting to see that. What do we all think about that? I'm interested to hear what everyone wants to see from it, what you think will happen versus what you want to happen, all of these types of things. So let's start with Brenda. Come on. What do you think?
Well, I really wanted to. I desperately hope they're going to be doing a trilogy about Revan. I mean, if you're going to go to a different timeline, that screams Old Republic to me. And if you're going to be dabbling in the Old Republic, give me some Mandalorian wars and Revan. I mean, I think to me, that's just the most exciting thing you could do in Star Wars, period.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that my opinion is very different. I think that... I watched this video from Hello Greedo. I don't know if any of you guys know who this guy is, but he's a Star Wars YouTuber, and he did a video about this, and it really parroted exactly what my feelings are about this. And what he said was a new trilogy should do something different, and if those unique films don't do as well as the formulaic films, that's fine because you made something different. You took a chance. And if you don't take chances, you end up with 100 Marvel movies where a bad guy has a big thing in the sky and that's about to kill a lot of people. Don't let Star Wars fall into that trap. End quote. So basically, I agree with this. I think Star Wars needs to diversify, needs to change, needs to go in a new direction with this trilogy, be something different. Maybe something we've never seen before. Maybe new characters we've never heard of before. To kind of give us something fresh, something unexpected that we can all kind of chew on and get excited about that nobody's really expecting or even predicting. It could be very interesting to see them touch on stuff that is completely new, a completely new story, even though it may be set in a timeline or something that we all know and love from the expanded universe, the legends. I really want to see something different. I don't care what it is. I just want it to be new, different, interesting, and not really follow the same formula that Star Wars always has. I wouldn't even mind different genre films.
By that?
I know what he means. He means the kid in the desert planet, and he's just fixing trinkets and walking around. And next thing he's the one, and then he kills his dad, or that.
I totally see this going a different way. If that's what you see, I really hope they don't go there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you mean when they call it the formula, though. That's what they mean. Like if you watch The Force Awakens, if you watch New Hope, and you watch
I got you.
Phantom Menace, it's the same thing. Like they do the do fix stuff in the desert, and then
and it's a similar thing with
next
Marvel
thing
movies. Where they've got the bad guy, like you said, the bad guy with the thing in the sky that's going to kill a lot of people, right? So you've got that similar kind of feeling from Star Wars as well, where it's like it's kind of all the same with the trilogies. I think
like a total Revan fanboy, but you could totally avoid that by doing a Revan movie.
I know everybody's a Revan fanboy.
You know what's funny? I'd never have been a Revan fanboy, and I'm not at all. It's just that with everything that's going on, he's just the right choice, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what they should do. They shouldn't do the Revan story that we know, in my opinion. I don't think that they should just take the Revan story and then run with that or anything. I just think that they should use the time frame and the character references. So they should make a new story, but from the time frame and use the references.
I would be happy.
What if they do the movie like entirely camera in the first person? Nobody acknowledges the gender of Revan, and it's just all like it's like.
Honestly, I would be happy if like we had an entire series of films where we didn't know any of the characters throughout all of them, the names were different, all this stuff, and then maybe at the end of the last movie they're like Revan, you know, and
well,
you're
wait,
like, oh,
me and you talked about this before, Valen, and that's exactly what I was saying. You know, we got 3 movies, so it might be Revan for 2 movies before you even know, and then you find out in the 3rd movie you're like, oh, Revan, you know, like it's not going to be like day one, hey, Revan, here we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think personally that I would like to see something completely new, a completely new story, completely new characters, because it breathes some life into Star Wars, of fresh ideas, fresh stories to tell, where you're not bound by the character. Because really, if you're doing Revan and you want to do Revan, you've got to do Revan. You know what I mean? You've got to do the character of Revan, and that ties you down to
I disagree.
A specific
That's the time when so much was going on. Like they had a lot of stuff going on at that time. So really, I feel like it's more open than that.
Well, not if you're doing Revan specifically, because you've got that character ties you down to him, who he is, what he is, the type of character that he is. All of those
but you don't know.
Things.
Revan doesn't even know Revan is Revan for like a long time. You know, Revan isn't walking around like, "Hey, I'm Revan." You know, Revan doesn't even know most of it. Like.
Sure, but he still has that conflict. He still has all of that stuff going. I kind of want to see...
But I'm just saying, like, you know, that doesn't have to be the major plot point.
Yeah, I think
it could start with the end of what we have from Revan. Like the first movie could be everything that we know about Revan, and then the second 2 could be completely new content following what happened after that.
So one of the things we do know about the movie is it's definitely not related to the Skywalkers at all. So that's one thing we do.
Yeah. Which makes me think we talked about this, Val, that it predates them, right?
I think it's possible
that's an indicator.
I think it's possible we could go to a pre-Republic era. Maybe
do you agree with that,
the beginnings of the Force, maybe. That could be cool.
Because if it's not going to involve the Skywalkers, Skywalkers are so big and such a legend that if they have no mention and no nothing at all, then it has to be before they did anything. They're too well known and too big to like not exist in the future. You know, people would still know who they are after Rey and Finn and so on. So I think that it has to predate them by a significant margin.
They don't have to mention the Skywalkers just because they exist in legends or whatever. If they did jump forward, like I think they could jump forward. I don't think they would have to mention the Skywalkers if they jump forward 500 years, as an example. Right.
Maybe so, but think about if you're the ultimate evil in the galaxy, you're gonna know who killed the last one. Everybody knows about Luke and the Jedi.
Not if there's been 5 other ultimate evils in between now and then.
Well, yes, but you know the time frame for that is thousands of years in Star Wars kind of thing. You know, 500 years is like nothing.
Well, I do feel like they could do it, after the current movies, but I feel like it's going to be they're more likely to go up before, just because nothing to do with that. I just feel like there's a lot of unexplored time there, and you know that there's a from the very beginning of the Force and Star Wars, like with the Wills and all that, there's a distance between that and kind of the Skywalkers, whereas the time after the Skywalkers is effectively infinite at that point, so they may as well cover what happens before first.
Yeah,
I completely agree. And a lot of their seeding that they've done, and a lot of the things that we've been given over the years with Star Wars that really hasn't like gone into detail, most of it comes from that time.
I think this next movie, the Last Jedi, is going to give us massive setup for whatever Rian Johnson's trilogy, in the way of, not in the way of characters, but in the way of themes and ideas, right? I think that the stuff.
One have done that?
No, because Rian Johnson didn't direct that. Rian Johnson directed this one, right? So,
hey, Valen, you should see, what else did Rian Johnson make? Since we're talking about it, some people might not know.
He didn't make that many. He hasn't made that many films, honestly. One of his most famous ones,
Looper.
But what about Star Wars related things?
He hasn't made any Star Wars things.
He made two of my favorite Breaking Bad episodes, which, like, the one, The Fly, was off the hook, and the one where maybe the biggest, like, plot point happened at the end of the show, when like a major character died, and so it was like just a devastating episode. So, like, he can handle it.
Yeah, he's really good.
Maybe that's the thing. Do we trust? Like, why is it that, like, Rian Johnson, like a guy like Rian Johnson, who's good, who I like, is trusted with the keys to a franchise like Star Wars?
I think it's because he's a heavy hitter. Like, in my opinion, J.J. Abrams is really good at making, like, good movies and things that I enjoy, and they're fun to watch, but they don't, like, hit you as hard, like, I feel like, as this movie is going to, if that makes sense, you know? Even, like, when Han Solo died in the first movie and stuff, it was really big and it hit you really hard. But I just have a feeling the Rian Johnson stuff is going to be, I mean, like, it's going to be shock and awe style.
Well, that's why I'm saying what I honestly believe
way big.
Is that this says a lot. This says a lot about The Last Jedi. Them literally saying, okay, we're hiring him for a new trilogy and releasing the news before The Last Jedi comes out. They're obviously trying to build hype for The Last Jedi by doing that, okay, with major Star Wars fans. But as well as that, I think it really does say a lot about their faith in him and their faith in The Last Jedi, and how strongly all the people at Disney feel about The Last Jedi. Because they wouldn't say, not just Disney, but Lucasfilm as well, you know, Kathleen Kennedy, all them, they wouldn't say, hey, come make a new trilogy for us, if they didn't like what he did with The Last Jedi in a big way. So I feel like they're probably going to like where he goes with the story, the beats, all of these types of things. And that's why they said, you know, we want you to do another trilogy. So I think The Last Jedi is going to be even better than I thought it was going to be after hearing this news. Because they didn't just say, hey, make episode 9. They were like, no, make a whole trilogy for us. Okay, which is much, much bigger. And this was something really big, because a lot of people were like, wait, why isn't Rian Johnson doing episode 9? Well, because he's doing his own trilogy now, and he's starting now, like right when wrapping on The Last Jedi, right when they wrapped on it, is when they started doing this new trilogy. So they're already working on it. It's already in production, which is huge. I think it'll probably be 2020, 2021, before we see the first movie in this new trilogy, based on their current trajectory of films. But I want to hear what Sith has to say.
Well, on that, I think it'll be 2021, or because we've got the episode 9 coming in 2020. No, sorry, 2019. So it's either going to be 2020 or 21. But I feel like they'll try and keep the 2-year gap between the trilogy movies.
And they'll have a standalone between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, unless I guess if they're starting working on it now, they might want to bring it out in 2020. They could do that. But it's definitely not coming before 2020. So
yeah.
Kind of, I wanted to say something, just going back to the point before with the reason why I think it's going to be before the current movies, just because, you know, yes, I want it to be something new, and I think they want it to be something completely new, but it still has to mean something. You know, if it's 10,000 years in the future from anything we've seen, or 15,000 years, that's not really going to mean anything. The only similarity will be that it's still the same universe and there'll be some hints. But I feel like if we get to see more of where the current Star Wars that we know came from, that's going to be much more interesting. And even if it's a completely new story, we'll still be able to, it's still obviously going to be linked to what we've already seen, in that it's, you know, maybe we'll see how the Jedi have changed, or how the Sith started, or something like that.
how the Force started. Maybe.
I totally agree with what you're saying, Sid. I couldn't agree more. And I think that's a big thing that people forget when it comes to a movie. The number one importance when you watch a movie, the hardest thing to do when you make a movie, is that people need to care for it to matter. Your movie can be beautiful, all your characters can do all the greatest things, but if nobody is invested or cares about these things, then nobody cares. So if we're going to see a Star Wars movie, most of us care about some Star Wars stuff, and we bring that to the movie with us. So it would be foolish of them not to exploit that a little bit. You know, that's the whole point.
Just
so
imagine,
you're gonna see a face. You're gonna see a face that you know.
I don't think so.
None of these movies.
Just imagine
none of these movies are
gonna
be all new people.
What they did that? Okay. So just
they
imagine,
have not done a Star Wars movies yet where they didn't have people that you knew before the movie started. Even, you got Rey, Finn, but you still got Han Solo, Leia. I mean, the list goes on. Luke, you get all these people. That's going to happen again.
But other people, but that's
90 years of each other.
Well, that's silly because a lot of people, they're marketing to a majority of people. They're not marketing to Star Wars fans, just to Star Wars fans. They're marketing to a lot of people. And so a lot of people, not everybody is going to know Revan. And so to say that, they're going to do Revan because it's a character that people know, no, I disagree with that entirely. Revan's a character from a game from 2002.
If you didn't know Revan and you were next to somebody who did know Revan, if it's a completely new story, it's not going to take anything away from the person who doesn't know Revan. That's the difference.
That's not the point you were making. The point you were making is that they're going to do a face that's familiar because it's familiar, and I don't agree with that.
Yeah, so you'll get some nods to people that are in the Jedi Council, or maybe in the Jedi Temple back in the day, or maybe an ancient Sith, or they're going to talk about something like this they mentioned in other movies or things.
Well, yeah, sure. There'll definitely be references to some of the Sith and Jedi, just because. If it's before, because they existed, but I disagree. I think if they want it to be something new, why would they base it off a character that already exists?
Exactly.
Okay, check this out.
You say, well, they can just rewrite it. It can be a different character. Just the only similarity is it's Revan. But if they're going to do a new character, why make it Revan? Why not leave Revan as he is? Why not leave Revan as a non-canon character that everyone can love? Because let's say they do this and we don't like this Revan, then we've got two Revans, and it's they could potentially ruin a character that's loved, for one thing. And
I think it'd ruin a character. But I don't think there's any way you can ruin people's impressions of Revan if they do it horribly.
I mean, if you guys are familiar with Revan, he does it all. So they could go literally anywhere with Revan. You can do anything. It doesn't even need to be They
don't even need it. But here's my point: they don't need to do Jedi or Sith in a big way. They could do the beginnings of the Force. Can you imagine them dropping a trailer? And you know how Luke said the Jedi have to end. Have a big line like that in there about the Force. Something deep, something curious that piques people's interest about the Force, right? I think a movie that is set in an era of the Wills, maybe, an era before Jedi, before Sith, leading up to the Jedi and Sith, could be vastly more interesting and deep than something set during the Old Republic, as an example. I think that could be a much more interesting trilogy, leading up and showing you how the Jedi and Sith began, and how the Force actually works. That's not how the Force works. And kind of diving deep into some of those more esoteric kind of concepts would be really cool and interesting to do. And they're sort of doing that in the current trilogy. So.
I think if you go...
That's why I don't think they will in that one. I think they're doing that more now.
Here, Furious, I think if you go to the future, you would almost have to do it so the world sort of forgot about the Force. Technologically advanced, all this jazz, there's some sort of an oppressive force that's kind of bureaucratic and technological, and then you kind of have the Force come back in a big way. So I think that's what you do if you do it in the future.
Like a Legend of Korra thing?
Yeah.
But wait, I thought that was pretty much the, plot to Force Awakens.
No. It always kind of the plot to Star Wars.
I'm just saying, in my opinion, that's why I hope they don't do that in this new trilogy, because that's exactly what happened. Luke didn't know about the Force either. He lived in a world where nobody knew about that kind of stuff. It was just kind of a legend or whatever.
Problem too with the origin, with something like the Force that's galactic, that's not limited to one planet. It's kind of hard to do a proper origin of the Force. So you could do the origin of the Jedi Order, which I think would be cool, or the origin of the Sith, which would be really cool. But I think if you go to the past, for me, it's like, even if you don't do Revan, I think the Old Republic's the way to go, because things were just bigger. Like, the Force was bigger, powers were bigger, people were more powerful. And it's like, I think that would just, you know what I mean? It's just, to me, that's like it's like giving you, it's like Star Wars on crack.
I feel like the seeds they're laying, though, are seeds of,
the Sith.
But no, before the Sith, before the Jedi, they're laying seeds of the wills. They're laying seeds of these concepts of the Force not being about the light and the dark side, but being a melding of the two. They're laying all of these kinds of things down, all of these ideas and concepts, and I think Rian Johnson loves those.
But I think that's going to come to fruition in the next movie after The Last Jedi. That's why I don't think they'll do it in the Rian Johnson trilogy.
Well, Rian Johnson does whatever he does, so I think he's really big into that kind of stuff. So
he really has creative control over this.
Ryan Johnson has complete control.
There's no such thing as complete control in Star Wars. Do you know how many people have started a movie and finished a movie?
What I'm saying is that Rian Johnson, this is his trilogy. They're giving it. They said basically the way that it worked, and this is, I know this from behind the scenes. There's people that know how these things work, and they've talked about it. Basically, the Lucasfilm Story Group had a number of different stories they wanted to tell, and they said, which one of these do you want to do? And Rian Johnson picked one, pitched an idea for how he wanted to go about doing it, and then they gave it to him, and he's off to write it, all that kind of stuff.
If that's the case, and he got to pick from 4 envelopes or whatever, then you're definitely looking at a Revan or somebody like that.
I don't think it's 4 envelopes. I think it's like 50 or 100.
I don't care if it's 1,000, but it's still going to involve people that already exist a little bit.
Yeah,
he wouldn't just completely 100% made up some story that somebody else did. He wouldn't. That doesn't, make sense. Why would he want to do that? That's like, hey, do a Star Wars movie, but use nothing from Star Wars.
That's not true, but okay. I mean,
but it kind of is. No. You need to use these things that already exist to tie it in.
You can use ideas and concepts.
But that's not the way Disney works. Disney knows exactly what works. They make $1 billion a clip on these things. They don't. They are
exactly. Thank you, Brando. That's exactly what I'm saying. If you're Star Wars and you're Disney, dude, you're throwing it all in there. You're not gonna pull stuff out. No, don't give them this. No. Did you see Rogue One? The last 10 minutes of Rogue One, that happened. You know why that happened? Because it's Disney. They were like, hey, we need to make more dollars on this. Just give them what they want.
But they made the money off of it even without that.
But I'm just saying that that's going to continue to happen going forward.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's plenty of that coming from the Solo films, and I think this is an opportunity for them to do something different and new.
It's going to be in every film. They're going to have some big
Disney does not do anything different or new.
Yeah, exactly.
Disney makes, and they are making a fortune. Think about it. They own Disney and Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, they're making the biggest movies on the planet.
Across the board, yeah.
They know how to tie in a universe. And it's like, I hate to say it, but I'm all in on Disney. I hated when Disney bought Star Wars. I thought it was going to be a disaster. It's the best thing that happened to Star Wars.
It is. I think they have creative directors over the Star Wars universe like they do with Marvel. And I like that system.
Smart way. Yeah, they do it in a smart way. It almost seems like the people that are running it are fans of it, which, I think is important. And they're not a deranged lunatic like George Lucas, who struggles to make movies.
Kathleen Kennedy, and then what's the other guy? Pablo Hidalgo is like the head of the story group, and he's really cool. He's got a lot of knowledge and wisdom in his head. So I like the people that they have behind it,
I just hate to say Disney's doing something right, because they're like the megalomaniacal evil.
It's funny. Someone made a joke that 10 years from now, you're gonna have Disney and Apple are gonna merge, and it's just gonna be like D-Apple or something.
They probably will. They probably already have. We just don't know.
And then you're gonna have Google merge with, I don't know, some other
No, come on. No, then they're gonna fight to the death. Amazon's gonna link up with Google.
Yeah,
Disney's gonna go.
Guzan.
And then they're gonna fight to the death for control of the world.
But the only thing I have to say about that is Ryan Johnson is known for his dialogue. So that's the thing, that's like whatever they decide to make with him, it's obviously going to be dialogue and story driven. Because something that a lot of people complained about The Force Awakens with J.J. Abrams, or maybe Rogue One, is that it was very action heavy and very visual heavy. But something that you keep hearing over and over again from the cast, people that know behind the scenes and stuff like that, is it's a good story. It's a good story. The dialogue, the direction. When you hear about like Daisy Ridley or what's his name, Gleason. What's the redhead guy's name? The guy who plays Hux. He's the one. He's always like, they're always saying like, even Mark Hamill. They're always saying like, hey, like the dialogue, the direction that he's going with, like, it really like made me question like, whoa, what's going on here? So whatever they decide to do with it, you can pretty much have a lot that it's going to be very dialogue heavy. So I don't expect it to be like, at least maybe until the third film, for it to be like this really fantastical, war, like, things blowing up every 2 seconds. Like, I feel it's going to be very personal, very intimate, very close, very dialogue centric films.
I'd like that a lot.
Would you go as far as saying sensual? A sensual Star Wars movie?
What does that mean?
Essential Star Wars.
What does that mean?
Then they could get Wong Kar-wai to direct like the trilogy that follows it. A more contemplative Star Wars.
Be nice if it was just wartime. I guess that's my real prediction. It's going to be wartime, whether it's Old Republic or...
I think Thane just predicted the opposite of that.
No. Listen,
that's what I got from what they said.
There are a lot of war movies where it's more about the drama in between the struggle of war, and those are some of the best written movies that I've ever seen. There are a lot of great movies like that. It's just not action driven. Like a recent example would be Fury. I don't know if you saw Fury. There's some action in it, but it's not an action movie at all. I mean, it's more of a struggle and dialogue driven movie. It's all about the story. Where I see them potentially going that way.
So the next bit of information that's happened recently. There's a quote from Dave Filoni here, and this quote was about Thrawn, the character of Thrawn. Okay, so this is a bit of a spoiler for Thrawn, not a spoiler for Rebels in any way, really. This is a spoiler for Thrawn. So here's what Dave Filoni said. Lars has been just an incredible in the role. He's been so inspiring. Once you get a voice like that in a role, then you can write to it. The character takes shape around the voice. He is dedicated to getting it right. He understands that the character is important. His character outlived his brother's, Mads Mikkelsen, who's in Rogue One, which is a hilarious inside joke for us. Lars was kind of the missing piece in the whole Thrawn thing. He just brings such a dimension and cunning to it. That's Dave Filoni. By the way, if you don't know who Dave Filoni is sort of the head of the animation group as a whole, and he worked on both the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. So Dave Filoni is saying that Thrawn outlived Mads Mikkelsen here. Mads Mikkelsen, if you didn't know, played the father of Jyn Erso. Okay, I think his name is Galen Verso. Yeah. Verso. Yeah. So these names are too similar. But Galen. So Galen died in Rogue One, and he's saying here that Thrawn outlived him. So that means that Thrawn lived into the original trilogy, which is really big news for the current canon. Now we know that Thrawn... we know that Thrawn is going to outlive Rebels, which I don't think anyone really thought that Thrawn was going to die in Rebels, because he's too big of a character to die in a show like that. So we know that Thrawn outlives him, and we know that Thrawn is going to go into the original trilogy, be alive during that time frame. So, what do we all think about this? This is fascinating news. Where do we think the character's going to go? Are you guys excited about this, to learn this news?
I mean, honestly, Thrawn's kind of a new construction to me. I didn't read the books from the 90s.
Okay.
Really, it's like my experience with Thrawn was Rebels, so I don't really know if... Like, I mean, I'm assuming he does die. I just don't know how much meaning or really has unless he does something else.
Well, he has a big impact on the Star Wars galaxy as a whole. Even right now, he has a big impact on it, right?
What would the impact be?
Well, one of the main impacts is when he came into the galaxy in the book, in the Thrawn book, the new one. You know, he came in and said, you know, there's something big going on in the unknown regions, and my people are fighting it. My people are fighting it. My people are, you know, and I had to leave my people because I wanted to do a preemptive strike. Right? Thrawn thought it was dangerous enough to do a preemptive strike. Not only that, but whatever the threat of the unknown region is, he also thought that even when he learned of the evils of the Empire, he thought that still the Empire was the best thing for the galaxy to protect from this threat in the unknown regions, and to protect his people.
Yeah, and it'd be the Empire have to then leave the Star Wars zone of the galaxy and go back to the unknown regions part, right? I mean, that would be the natural progression of a story.
Yeah, so the question is, when does Thrawn die? How long is he alive? Is he alive even after the original trilogy? And if so, is he part of the people who started the First Order?
I think is the implication, right? I mean, if he leaves into the unknown regions, that's where the First Order came from.
No, because he could leave and just go back to his people. He could just leave the Empire and go back to his people.
That seems kind of boring, though. I feel like you would have to connect it to the First Order.
It's not, though, because he's in the book, in the Thrawn book, as he's going through the Empire, he's sort of cherry-picking people that are really, really good people, and he's, like, sending them back to the Chiss Ascendancy. It's like, hey, you just, go. I want to use you, not just people in the Empire, but also people outside, like rebels. Like he tries to get a rebel to join the Chiss Ascendancy. He's like, we could use you. So you just go back to my homeworld. And so he's like, kind of doing his own thing outside of the Empire, even during his story, while he's a part of the Empire. So it could be very well that something's going on. Maybe the Chiss Ascendancy becomes a bigger deal than we think in the future. Who knows? But I just find it really interesting.
Or they just get wrecked, and that's why we care about whoever wrecks them, right?
That's a thing too. Who knows?
Like Alderaan style, you know? You never go to Alderaan. It just blows up.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe the Chiss Ascendancy does get wrecked, and Thrawn is like the lone survivor and puts together the First Order to protect against whatever wrecks them. That could happen too. Any of these things. I think it just opens up possibilities. Thane, what do you think about all this?
So talking about that, like I just minor spoiler to the end of the book. It's minor, so just spoiler for the book. Fast forward a couple of minutes here. At the end of the book, like it does give us the hint, or like this, at least the idea that Thrawn does die, because when Eli Vanto goes to the unknown regions to join the Chiss Ascendancy, he makes it seem like, hey, Thrawn left me behind his journal, and he clearly says like, hey, the Empire, had Thrawn, and they still have his legacy. He specifically says they still have his legacy. Now I am gonna go and join the Chiss Ascendancy to see. And when he gets there, he's like, he thought that Ike might be able to help. The general or the admiral says like, well, let's hope that let's see if he was right. So they're kind of talking to him as like as if he's no more, as if he's passed on, and Eli Vanto's kind of going to the unknown regions to kind of pick up where Thrawn might have left off.
That's possible. It's really hard to say because after that they also went into Thrawn meeting Darth Vader and stuff. So I don't really know where they're going to go with it. We're going to have to wait for the next Thrawn book and see. Well,
the Eli Vanto stuff could have happened way later. It could have been something that he dropped in there to foreshadow his imminent death, because he said oh, he left me his journal. This is his story. He could, for whatever reason, we could find out that he left him a second journal or some kind of a message behind with the second story. So this could have happened after he had died, and then because we know that we're pretty much, it hasn't been confirmed, but we get the idea, we get the sense that this is also going to be a trilogy. I don't think his story is gonna Yeah, I don't like like they haven't outright said it, but you can kind of get the hint. Like, okay, this is going to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
So like perhaps at the third one we're going to finally ultimately see his fate. And just very quickly before I forget, like a lot of people complain like if he survived past the events of Rebels, why don't we ever see him? And it's very easy for them to explain that because we don't see Mon Mothma until episode 6. So they could very easily say like, well, while the Leia and her rebels were on Hoth and doing their thing, Thrawn was chasing Mon Mothma and the remnants of the Phoenix Squad on another part of the galaxy.
Yeah, that's true. He could be doing something else in another part of the galaxy. He could have left the galaxy. He could have, I don't know. Anything is possible. But that's what makes me excited about it.
The update, it was huge. Probably for me, my game is pretty much all simply farming the veterans right now, Chewie and Han, and just trying to desperately get Jedi Rey or lightsaber Rey when she comes out. Did you guys do the double drops for those?
Oh yeah, all in vets. I still need another 20 shards for my scavenger Rey too, so womp womp.
Oh, is that it? Or do you have BB-8?
He's at 5 stars, but if the event comes back, I'm good to unlock him.
Okay. It's just, I'll be honest with you guys. It's like panic farming is the new norm, and like the last 6 months of this game for me has been a panic farm, and this is just my newest angle.
I'm not doing it, man.
Well, I'm almost thinking about backing out just because I feel like the next one will be a big dark side tune or something. So I'm like having second thoughts, but I've already spent so much into it. I might as well just finish it out.
The big next dark side tune is already here with Wampa.
Yeah,
Wampa. Look, don't use the W word. That's like my trigger right now. I don't want to hear it. Like, save it for later.
Well, yeah.
I don't hear pounding.
Like, I almost dropped my tea when you said that. I was like, man, it's too soon.
Well, what do you think about Wampa? Because I think Wampa's great.
It's the dark side CLS.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so sad. This is the worst conversation.
I love the Womp. I love that they just called the attack Womp, and it deals like insane damage.
He's literally the Hulk. He's the Hulk. That's what he is. He's the
Whack.
Hulk.
You know what he is? He's the ultimate rebel killer. That's what he is.
He's just the Hulk. It's just Hulk smash. You just put him in there and just smash.
All rebels dead now.
But he's not just even rebels. He'll just kill anybody. He's just like Hulk smash. Just
well,
kill
no,
everybody.
he does like insane damage against rebels, though, right? Like that's a thing.
Okay, I'm going to complain.
Up Luke, so.
I'm going to keep it really short. I don't want to complain about a dark side tune that's been added that could be good. I'm just going to say that first. I'm happy about that. Here's what I'm not happy about. I play this game because it's a Star Wars game and I like Star Wars stuff. And there's a lot of Star Wars stuff that I really like and I really enjoy and that I would really, really like in game. And I would spend my dollars on it if it ever happened. But you're giving me Wampa? When I saw a video, I was flipping through YouTube and I was like, Wampa? Are you serious? Like, I didn't even believe it. I did not even believe it. I had to watch it and I was like, it's really happening. And I'm still in shock.
Well, I mean, it does kind of suck that they took Hermit Yoda and they paired Wampa and Hermit Yoda somehow get pointed off each other as the major farms.
The master of all Jedi for like 1,000 years is equivalent to Wampa.
Can I be honest with you? I like Wampa more than I do Hermit Yoda.
Well, I mean, as far as kits, it's a push. I mean, Wampa's kit. If you just think about the character's kit, Wampa's great.
It's just not the Star Wars feels that I'm looking for in game right now.
But here's the thing.
It's been a while since they gave me that. Does that make sense? That's what I'm saying.
You're going to get those feels next month.
Cool. But hey, it's been a long road, man. It's been a few months of just eating these tunes that I don't like. What, I got a probe droid? I got Colonel Stark.
Don't you get the feeling that they threw those...
Characters.
Yeah, they threw those guys in there because
that's
they were
what I'm saying. That's cool. Put Wampa in there with them.
That's what he did.
Have to be up on the pedestal. No. He's up a next bracket. He's not with them.
Well, that is true. Like as soon as they put him in guild event store, I just completely ignored him.
Well, but you knew they were going to do that, right? I mean, you knew one of these characters that they were coming out with was going to go in the guild events. One of them was going to be in the node, in the actual territory battle itself, and then one of them was going to be somewhere in the, on the cantina there.
Yeah, I
would
get
have
it.
liked more if they'd brought us a Hoth Vader with a slightly frosted suit.
Yeah, or something like cool, awesome. I would have been like awesome, but Wampa bro, that's like a middle road dude. He doesn't need to be on a pedestal.
Look, can I just say, I'm happy that I was right about there being Empire characters this month, and also that they had 5 Darkside characters this month that they released, which is really cool, right? That's 5 more Darkside characters, between the 3 Hoth characters and then the Kylo Ren and the First Order guy. That's awesome. I'm just happy they're doing more Darkside.
I want to throw up. All these characters suck. That's
no, they
don't.
They do.
No, they don't.
None of them suck. Are you kidding me?
Wampa's good. Wampa's
Time out, guys. I think what he's saying is the characters suck.
Colonel Stark,
not the kits. Not the kits.
Is amazing.
The kits are amazing.
That's what I'm saying. If you're talking about kits, that's one thing. But I think the characters as characters do suck. Like if you're going to compare Hermit Yoda to the Wampa, you've got yourself and I think that's kind of like their perspective on the dark side in general in the game, where the dark side does get the shaft across the board.
Saying. Brendo, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you guys aren't. Yeah, thank you, Brendo. That's what I'm saying. There's Hermit Yoda has a rich heritage. He trained Luke. I mean, he has all these awesome things. Wampa's
a character you know and love.
I don't think you're getting it though.
His arm cut off. It just sucks. It doesn't feel good. It's like
both.
It hurts my feeling.
Both Hermit Yoda and the Wampa make sense for this territory battle store because it's a Hoth territory battle, and both those characters showed up in that movie, where that where that territory battle came from. So
for one thing,
it made sense.
But I think all because of characters in a movie, you're taking an animal, and you're making that the dark side chase tune.
Dude, I got this.
That's ridiculous.
No faction attacker.
Yeah, he's just an attacker.
I'm like,
animal.
What the hell? It
synergy.
doesn't feel good. Yeah,
now,
it doesn't feel good.
The kit synergizes.
I think it's
really
got
well.
An awesome kit. He's a great character. Yeah, he's gonna wreck. He's got all kinds of great abilities. Awesome kit, great values.
Vader, Zeta Vader,
something thousand perfection.
But if they would have maybe made a named character and put them in the dark side store, it would be so much better if you had a named character. And not like a named character like Stark. Because honestly, when Stark came out, I remember I asked Thane, I was like, who the hell's Colonel Stark?
I didn't remember know who he was either.
I mean, it's that's how bad it is with the dark side. When I'm a Star Wars fan,
thank you.
I don't know who Colonel Stark is. And it's I'm not saying that I'm tuned in as I'm sure there are many people who knew who he was, but anyway, he's a nobody.
Do you want to know why you didn't know who he was? The only appearance he had, the only appearance he ever had in Star Wars was in a card game in 1997. Okay, literally, that was his first appearance in Star Wars. Was a card game. They didn't. He wasn't a character.
Action figure?
No, there's no action figure. No action figure.
Doesn't he drive the?
That was added later, though.
Yeah, he drove it later, I guess.
They added that later. That wasn't in the movie. They added that lore later with the card game. It was this is guy. There's an AT-AT that Luke destroyed. I'm like, okay.
That's what I mean by this being such a sad time.
That's how bad it is when you're dark side. You get a probe droid, and you're like, all right, cool.
I like the probe droid.
But I get Colonel Stark. I'm like, get off my back, Colonel Stark. This guy who? Come on, is General Veer's little brother or what?
Yeah,
that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, this guy's Veer's little brother. They're gonna hang out. I might
Veers.
I think it's cool they added another Imperial Trooper, I have to say, and he's actually a pretty good character.
Like I said, I don't mind them as much. They should have thrown Wampa in with those 3. That should have been a 3 set. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Wampa should have been dumped down a bracket. Should have been a 3-pack, and then they should have put somebody big up with Hermit Yoda.
To see Wampa.
I don't even care who.
Character. And I hate what marquee events. I hate.
Who else is in that movie? Who else is in the movie with Hoth? Let's think real quick.
That's the problem. it's so hard to find named dark side characters.
Are any of the bounty hunters in that movie?
No.
Bosk.
Out of the bounty.
Isn't Bosk in that movie?
No,
all the bounty hunters.
Not in that battle though. They weren't in the battle.
Well, neither was Hermit Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. They just need to be in the movie.
Yeah, it's just in the movie.
Hermit Yoda wasn't in the Battle of Hoth, but he's in there. Like, that's what I was hoping
I don't know. They did. I think they did what makes sense.
Check it out. Wait. And if it was Bosk, we got these new bounty hunter requirements too. I mean, that connects the dots way better than my sad attacker Wampa. I can't afford to go Wampa. He has no, he has nothing to give me.
Well, I hate marquee events because they're just
Wampa is Wampa. That's it.
You know, like, I mean, would you guys agree with me that marquee events are just pure money grabs and that's it?
Okay.
I would rather have seen Wampa come in as a marquee event, and then, like, because he seems like the kind of tune everybody should be able to play around with, and he's not so overpowered that you need to put him behind, an 80,000 currency unlock.
I don't know, man. He can one-shot Luke. Like, he could literally one-shot Luke on a counterattack.
Yeah, but considering Luke one-shots everybody, I feel like you need that for balance in the game.
Yeah.
It'd be nice for them to, like, maybe put Luke.
Yeah, that's what I felt. They were trying to give Darkseid a bone as far as defending themselves because they were helpless against all these rebels. And they threw her like, okay, we need to put a guy. And I'm glad about that. But really, like, he's got to be up there? Bump him down.
Quite frankly, I'm just happy that they made all these characters free-to-play immediately, and there wasn't any.
Which ones are free to play?
All of them.
Like, I mean, really.
Well, Colonel Stark's in the guild store.
All of them are free to play.
Wampa is not necessarily. I mean, there's a time wall there, so it's like it's still not that and you need to be in a great guild.
There's a time wall on anything, dude.
Well,
any
character. Once you've got the gear to spare, because Wampa's not really free until you can actually afford to not farm gear from that store.
Well, that's very true.
I was totally going to say that.
Well, yeah, but
he's
still
the most pay-to-play character because he's sitting behind volts and volts of crystals worth of gear until you've caught up on the gear. So,
you guys, I'm in a pretty good guild, and I'm not getting currency fast enough. I mean, you really need to be in a guild that's dropping down 41 stars plus to be farming that Hermit Yoda or Wampa at the same time. Not to mention now you just doubled the investment on the exclusive tunes by having. I mean, it's pretty big.
We got 30 stars on the Darkseid territory battle in my guild, and 5,000 currency is not bad. Like, it's not bad. If you wanted to spend a little bit of currency each go around on the Wampa and then the rest on gear, you could. Well,
actually, that's probably the worst thing you could do.
Here's what
I'm not saying you should. I'm saying you could.
If you make Wampa or Hermit Yoda a priority, the worst thing you could do is buy their shards incrementally. What you should do is just save the currency. Because if you amass the currency, you could unlock them really quickly. The store refreshes 4 times a day. You could buy the shards out of there very fast. Probably in like a week or two, you can go from 0 to 7 stars just by buying the shards that pop up. The currency is so rare that if for something happens in the game where you need to make an adjustment, you want to be able to use that currency and have a lot of it. So don't buy it until you're ready to buy it all the way, basically, is my point. Like, when it comes to that,
that's definitely an efficient way to do it. He's like, don't buy it until you're going to use it. It's a good way to go.
Well, I'll just say this. Them adding Krennic into that store, it makes up for Wampa, in my opinion, because, like, Krennic is a really good
makes up for?
Yeah, it totally does. Totally does. No, because here's the thing.
They had to break even. They have all the other hard-node light side guys in there. They had to do that. I mean,
but they took Baze out. Did you guys notice that Baze isn't in there anymore?
They took Baze out?
I haven't seen Baze a single time since they added that.
It's just diluted, that's all.
I think Baze is still in there.
He's still in there.
I mean, I see light side characters every day. I don't see Baze.
Like I said, they just added a lot of stuff. It's just like the guild.
I'm pretty sure that's on Reddit. There's a bunch of threads about that on Reddit, and
Reddit's not always right about everything.
Well, no, but I mean, it's because this is like people complaining about not being able to buy him. But honestly, I've been paying attention, and I have not seen a single Baze.
Well, I haven't seen Baze yet either, but that doesn't mean he's not there. Like,
that's true with the way these stores work. But I mean, I used to see a lot of Baze. Now I see no Baze.
Yeah.
But I will say I have a confession to make because this stands against everything that I believe in the game. I am buying Krennic from territory store, and it kills me.
Why?
It kills me. First use of currency. It's just I'm so sick of farming those nodes.
You want to know why, Galen?
Why does it kill you?
This is why it's really important. Maybe you don't know this, but there's an item and it's called a bayonet, and it's like breaks the game damage wise.
Dude,
it's
I
like
get it.
so
I
huge.
know that.
It's a gear 12.
I know.
But unless you're doing it, like you're missing out. I mean, it's huge. Yeah. If you just put that on all your guys, it's like such a big damage.
But you need the purple too.
Gear 12,
you need the bayonet.
But the only place you can buy that from is that store. So I use every currency that I can to get as many of those as I can because they give me the most impact across the game.
I mean, the Gear 12 is hard to argue with. I mean, like, so what I'm doing... What's that, Seth?
Valen doesn't have any Gear 12s, though.
I'd suggest getting one, and then once you have one, then you get two.
Here's the thing: is the currency is so expensive. I could probably Gear 12 Thrawn in a week, but I couldn't put the gear at Gear 12 on him anyways. So, you know.
But that's the gear I'm talking about. Is the gear at Gear 12?
I know.
The gear at 12.
One of them is called a bayonet. It's a specific one, and it has like 60 armor penetration or something like that. And I mean, it's like doubling down on your damage. It's big money.
I get it, but it's hard to get. I don't even have the purple gear required for it. I looked over it. You know, I looked over the Gear 12 pieces and the different stuff to see if I wanted to Gear 12 someone right now. And really,
I put it on my Thrawn.
It was like
I put it on my Thrawn. It's a game changer. People punch him and he counters attacks, and man, it's brutal. He's just blowing people away.
Yeah, Thrawn will definitely be my first, but not anytime soon.
I still have like 20,000 currency saved up, but I think I bought Krennic twice out of there, which is it feels like a waste, but it's sort of like 5 shards. Occasionally, I feel like is my one luxury that I'll give myself. Like. Basically, I either want to be able to buy a full Gear 12 piece, or I want to be able to unlock Hermit Yoda or Wampa. Is sort of what I'm trying to do. And
dude, I want
so basically just saving it.
I want Krennic so bad.
Are you farming the node?
Not yet. I'm finishing Shore Trooper first. I already have 3. I mean, 3 farms right now, so I have to finish one of those before I can start another one.
Let us get into the nuts and bolts of the pain that is dark side territory battles, because it's the struggle is real here, I think, for most of us.
So I really
even Furious, right? I mean, are you struggling, Furious? Because I know you're dark side.
Yeah, it was not pretty, man. I didn't like it at all. It was a letdown. I did 3 of 4 on a few of them that I felt I should have been able to 4 of 4. Let's say it that way.
Why did you say it was a letdown? Content-wise, or just...
All right, let's think of it this way. I had like a team that was all Gear 12. It's a great team. There's Zetas. Like, it's a good team. And I feel like I should have done fine, but there's just so much healing and drama, and like it's pretty ridiculous.
Isn't one of the characters bugged?
What?
I'm not sure about it being bugged, but
it doesn't matter. They're going to do a lot of changes to it.
It seems like mechanic-wise, it's a little wonky. Like it's just like taunt spam and heals and stuff, and it's like, come on, man.
Their abilities are insane. Like it's
no. Whoa, hold on. This is the problem, and I have one problem. It's the freaking airstrike is brutal. I just get bombed to death. I can't do crap about it, and they're fast. Like, so even if I can just fight forever, which my team is pretty survivable and I do well, but yeah, dude, I get to the last wave and blammo! And
dude,
just get blasted down with that thing every time.
I tried a Nihilus-led team. Don't do that. I tried a Nihilus-led team with other Sith. I had Sith Trooper. I had
Nihilus-led doesn't work.
And
you just don't have the protection.
The Blammo. The Blammo murdered 3 of my Sith on the last wave. I had all 5 Sith on the last wave, and the murder wave just murdered 3 of them, and then brought Nihilus down to like 2 health, and then he was murdered, and then I had 1 Sith left, which was he was done after that. So
that's exactly how it went for me, except a couple of them dodged, so I kind of made it, but I still couldn't complete it. It wasn't enough.
Darth Maul is required. I think, in my opinion, I don't know if the Zeta Maul is going to be the best lead. I think Palpatine would be better, in my opinion, than Zeta Maul.
Zeta Maul for this. Don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't do Zeta Maul. I wouldn't
Don't
do
Zeta Maul. Don't. Zeta Maul's really not good on this.
Yeah.
I think he's okay if you have him.
Maul's good on a team. He's not good as the leader.
I disagree.
I think a lot of people have Zaters and Zols. You know, just from going back to like 8 months ago, 9 months ago. If you have a Zeta Maul, should you use them or should you just work for something else?
No, not from what I've seen. No.
Since I'm using Sith and that's my main team, and I struggled, I think that I need to boost up my Savage. I think if my Savage was good to go and he was my 5th guy, I think I would have done way better.
I think you should try Palpatine.
He eats a lot of damage. He thought it. Yeah, but Palpatine is an Empire cross, so I can do more Empire stuff with him
it's
too.
Sith cross,
and there's a lot of Empire. There's a lot of Empire requirements though.
Yeah, but I think if in a
Palpatine's really good for this, so I prefer him on my Empire stuff.
My best team for Empire was a Thrawn lead. That was my best team that I tried out. I tried out all Empire teams I could with the characters I had, and Thrawn lead was the best.
I think that I did Zader lead with Thrawn, Palpatine, TIE Fighter pilot, and one more I can't remember off the top of my head.
Zader was number 2 for me. Zader was the number 2 leader, and Thrawn was number 1.
Real quick here, Furious, but when it comes to Sith, I never thought of using Palpatine on a Sith team, but I really like that because I don't think if you have like a whole roster, unlimited resources, and you could pick any tune, I don't think Palpatine makes the cut on an Empire team. And moving Palpatine to Sith, that gives you some really nice anti-rebel stuff. I think it solves the problem of the Sith not having a really good leader.
Yeah, minus 32% potency, man, on the Rebels. Getting it so you can't stun.
That's not saving you, though. That's not saving you.
Yes, it is.
The problem, like I said, is when you get to last phase, you just get bombed and you're toast. If that hits you, I mean, it wipes you down. You're done. So that max health, by the time you get there, you're not sitting at max health and stuff a lot of the times. At least I didn't. And yeah, that bomb crushed me. So that Palpatine thing's not going to carry the day.
I think that what you're going to see is in the next battle, you're going to see it be easier to get the shield from that, and because they're going to reduce the the difficulty a bit. So I think you won't have to worry about that as much in the future.
Maybe that's true, but we can only talk about the way it's going right now, and that's the way it went. I did just fine, but man, they dropped that bomb, and I was done. That's it. Like anything else, I did fine. I had the longest battles, some of them. I did some of the first 2 or 3 phases using mostly Xylo and just sitting there and crushing people. It took a long time, but put the help community and just sit and hit over and over, and I was able to wipe most of the stuff out. But, once the bomb came down and that became a thing, it was over. Like, that's all that mattered. Boom, 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 bomb, bomb, bomb.
What do you think, Sith?
Well, I was just going to say on Savage, I have Zeta Savage, and he doesn't work very well. They do too much damage.
Do you have Sith Assassin, though, too?
No.
See, that's the thing I want to do. Is the problem is I get people down to 50% or whatever, and then they get healed up and somebody taunts and whatever, and I can't finish people. But if I could just go boom, boom, I'd be able to 2-shot a lot of the guys practically.
So,
and then they're dead. I don't have to worry about their heals.
It's just more Savage, he doesn't survive. He dies too quick.
Yeah.
Interesting. What gear level is your Savage?
He's gear 11.
So
interesting.
I think Thrawn.
I have a modded for P3 as well, so.
So I think Thrawn is one of the best leaders for longevity, because really what it comes down to, is the protection you gain and all that kind of stuff. And when you look at it, I ran Thrawn with Death Trooper, TIE Fighter pilot, Shore Trooper, and Tarkin, even though my Tarkin's gear 8.
That's who I used. It was Tarkin. That was my last guy.
And that was really good team. Like I was able to 4-4 in stage 5 with that. Okay. So, and like I said, everyone on that team is gear 11 except Tarkin. And that team went really good for me. It worked really, really strongly. I don't even have the Zeta on his leadership, on Thrawn's leadership. But
do you need it?
No, you don't need it. I like I said, I 5-5, I 4-4 on phase 5 with my Thrawn.
When you finish when you finish Krennic, are you going to keep Thrawn lead, or are you going to do a Krennic lead?
I have to wait and see. My Krennic is so bad right now, I can't even test it in dark side territory. I tried it in the first phase, and it was.
I don't
terrible.
think it's necessary. I think you can get away with either way.
I think. Well,
I think you absolutely
depending who you're using.
Krennic.
I think you got options.
I think Krennic is a great option, and I can't wait to get him leveled up so I can use him. But
you need the Zeta on Krennic. I don't know if
what
you
was
need
the Zeta on Krennic?
Basically, turns him into like a protection regenerating monster.
On just himself?
Gives him like 3 different things, if I remember right. No, it's for the whole team.
It's a whole team buff. It's really good. It's like built for dark side territory.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
He kind of out.
It's very similar to the Thrawn one, except it's like when you attack, not when you take debuffs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've been saying this for ages, that I think that him, Death Trooper, Thrawn, Shore Trooper, and Tarkin are like a god team for the dark side territory battles.
You know, since you reminded me, I want to say
Tarkin
carried the day for me. Tarkin was really the one.
Tarkin removes turn meter, he puts debuffs, he does all that stuff. It's awesome. I mean, you could do
when
TIE
I was
Fighter
struggling, I just sat in the first couple waves and auto attacked like a billion times and just picked my butt, and auto attacked. Then when I got to later phase, I just dropped the bomb and it was an easy win.
See, Brenda, the problem with TIE Fighter Pilot is you need him for deployments a lot of times. So usually I'll put him in deployment over using him, just because.
Oh God, you need if you factor in what you need for deployments, it just ruins everything.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, sidebar here, because I want to get into the Dream Empire team. But, did you see the pictures where I stopped even looking at platoons, to be honest with you. But, when you need to get, 4-star or 5-star zombies and
it was all zombies and the new First Order guys.
Yeah, it's come on. A 6-star...
They put probe droid in one of them.
Well, I know we ended up having, on one of the platoons, we ended up having, three leftover TIE Fighter pilots that nobody put in there, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to start platooning him because nobody else is, so I was just thinking,
well, if you can platoon him, that's the problem with platoons on the dark side. There's not enough characters. So if you put if you're putting anything other than Geonosian soldier in a platoon, it's gonna hurt you in terms of combat.
Not if you have other characters.
There's a few guys you can't get around, in my opinion.
You can platoon TIE Fighter Pilot and be okay, is what I'm saying.
But I think if
you farmed Empire tunes, though, TIE Fighter Pilot, a lot of people have because of the ship. So
they also have them because of Rancor back in the day as well.
Rancor
potentially, but I'm just saying, number one reason if you're in the game now is for the ship. Well, most people get him because he has an awesome ship. Not a lot of people are Empire heavy,
Yeah. So Dream Empire team, Brendo, you wanted to talk about that? I'm interested.
Dream Empire. I think it would be a Krennic or Thrawn lead with Tarkin, TIE Fighter Pilot, and Death Trooper.
No, I think you need a tank. You need a tank.
And Short Trooper.
You need.
I don't think you need. I think Short Trooper could be better. I would rather put Short Trooper. Let me think. Do you want him on a commando team?
No, Stormtrooper.
Wait, hold on.
No.
20-second timeout. You have to keep in mind there's some of them are the Imperial Trooper tag missions.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, I get that, but you've already got 5 Imperial Troopers, okay, that are good without Short Trooper.
I don't think you put a tank on your Dream Empire team.
I do,
which is weird.
I do, because he heals and tanks, and that's longevity.
Nah, you don't need it.
No, your healing comes from your Krennic lead.
From your lead.
If I didn't have him on my team, there's no way I would have won those battles. No way. I'll just tell you.
You went 4-4?
Yeah, I 4-4'd with my Thrawn lead with Short Trooper on the team. I 4-4'd multiple battles with that team. And I would have not been able to do that if it wasn't for my Short Trooper. I was just going to see.
Yeah, okay. All right, so if you're going to sub out anybody, it would be TIE Fighter Pilot then or Tarkin.
Yeah, one of those two. Sub one of those two.
I like both of them because, I feel like the buff immunity from TIE Fighter Pilot is overpowered.
It's pretty swell.
It's useful, but if you've got the
Krennic
lead, if you've got the Krennic lead already, you don't really need buff immunity from him because you could do buff immunity with Krennic, or you could do mass ability block with Krennic as well, so you got that going for you.
Well, okay, the cleansing now is tough to gauge because they're cleansing. When I said the cleansing mechanic on the Rebel Commander's wrong, like I've seen it, like, or I should say, I heard that they were having fractures cleansed, and like, it's just a mess.
That didn't happen for me. They didn't.
That didn't happen for you.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Cleanse fracture, but they did cleanse everything else. It was insane. But
I heard people were talking about fracture being cleansed, which is like, if it's that broken.
No, that didn't happen.
That must have been a bug or something.
Yeah. What I will say though is that I think that it's really strong, to have all those ability blocks on that team, because that would prevent them from cleansing, even. If you
theoretically.
But on top of that, you also have the cooldown reduction of Death Trooper. So using Death Trooper with the cooldown reduction. Yeah, I love it. Death Trooper. I'm glad that I worked on Death Trooper when I did and have him at 7 stars gear 10, because he's pretty awesome for it. You definitely need him on that team.
See, that's the problem with this team, is it takes Krennic and Death Trooper, and those are both heavy, and Shore Trooper, which are both heavy Empire investments, which is what I was kind of saying. 90% of players didn't invest that hard in Empire.
You're right.
So it's kind of rough. And in my opinion, it doesn't necessarily make as much. Hold on, let me think how to say this properly. It's not necessarily as good as it is hard. So you could easily replace some of those guys with easier to farm Empire tunes and still get where you need to go.
I think you could do the second
you could sub
team.
one or two of those out. And still go. I think the one you can't lose is Thrawn. You need Thrawn, in my opinion.
So no, here's what I think. I think a second team for someone who doesn't have all those crazy characters would be a Zeta Vader team, honestly, for Empire. So Zeta Vader,
and I was gonna say that too. Zeta Vader with Thrawn, Tarkin, and then
stub out Thrawn in case people don't have it.
Okay, well, I'm just saying though, if you want a 4-4 and really crush it,
but if you can't,
play, most people do.
But we're talking about free to play.
If you're trying to go 4-4, you have Thrawn.
Okay, but let's just talk about the people that don't, because there are people that don't, and there are people that need a team. So what would you use?
Tusken Shaman. What about Tusken Shaman? Like, for the people that have Shaman from the tank raid, I think having a healer, Oral Daka, could work under a Zader.
So I think my opinion on Zader is you could do Zader with TIE Fighter Pilot, with Royal Guard is actually pretty okay tank for Dark Side Territory battles. And then you could do sorry, I'm trying to think about the other two. It was Tarkin. You could do Tarkin. And one other one. I don't know, you could do Stormtrooper, I guess, or you could do another one or something like that. Or
well, would people honestly have Tarkin?
Yeah, Tarkin's easy to farm, and
Tarkin is a really good ship, so a lot of people do.
Yeah,
I mean, I do my Tarkin. I don't even use him that much, but I gear him up because he helps with my ships.
I know people at level 65 who have him at 6 stars already.
But do they use his capital ship though?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people do.
People that don't use Tarkin's capital ship, I don't think are going to have Tarkin.
Who doesn't though?
I mean, but he's a free to play character, so I mean, a lot of people do have him, and he comes from the Squad Arena store, so he's one of the easiest characters to 7-star in the entire game.
Exactly.
Well, it's like I don't have Mace. I don't have Mace 7-star.
No, but Tarkin's actually good.
One.
Yeah, Tarkin's
That's what I mean. You either pick Mace, you pick Akbar, or you pick Tarkin if you're starting the game. In my opinion, and that's what I did. So that was why I went all in on Tarkin immediately. He was actually one of the first characters I leveled up because of that.
The thing is, Tarkin is usable in the raids, both raids, okay, and he's usable, with the Darkside TB, and you can even use him in arena if you really. He's one of
the best characters in the game, in my opinion. He's not that great in the arena, but he gives you a lot of investment payback. He does.
Yep.
Okay, so then we'll put him on the Darkside team then. I'm just trying to think what's a
quick free to play. Quick free to play. I would go Zader. Hopefully you have the Zeta, I guess. But Tarkin, TFP, I did Emperor Palpatine.
That could be good.
And then you can throw whoever else you want.
Yeah, I think you would save. I would save Emperor Palpatine for a different team, honestly.
Yeah, I like putting my Emperor with Zader.
Yeah, I think for a free-to-play, Zader and Tarkin work well together. Sidious as well, you could use there.
Sidious is a good one. Yeah, you could throw Sidious on that team. That would be good.
Honestly, Darth Nihilus is the best character.
Well, if you can get him. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But he's viable. He's viable at low stars, though.
Yeah, but not in territory battles.
You can't use them in higher levels at lower stars. But, I would say, too, I think if you had a Zader team in the tank, Tusken Shaman, is useful. And I seriously think you could plug in old Daka on a Zader team. You get 2 stuns from her, and she heals. So that's a good option.
I mean, you could just roll Night Sisters.
You know what's funny? Actually,
characters.
If we're talking
I thought we were
about,
just sticking to Empire.
If we're talking,
well, no, but I mean, just for a budget Zader team, I think old Daka outside of Night Sisters, like say you don't have a Night Sister team, you probably have old Daka if you ever wanted a dark side healer, and she just is gathering dust. So it's like, why not use her on a Zader team?
Yeah, that could work. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I have to try. I'll try it out. I can try it because I've got old Daka at gear 10.
Yeah, but why would you want to try it over a bet? You have better teams, so you don't need
I would
to try
it.
I mean,
for people to help people. You know.
Oh, to take it for a spin.
Yeah,
okay, yeah. I try it out. Try her, and maybe try some other time Tuscan Shaman, because like
I don't have my Tuscan Shaman high though. That's the only problem. I don't.
Well, who cares? You don't need them now. I mean, you only needed one.
I want to ask Thane a question. Did you use your first order in territory battles?
Yes, I did.
How did it go? What did you use?
I mean, I used the vanilla first order Phasma lead.
Phasma and all that.
They did
Yeah, go ahead.
They did fine as from terms of firepower and taking turns. The only time it falls apart is once first order stormtrooper dies. Everybody else gets kind of picked apart. But for the most part, I mean, as far as just firepower, they get through the first 3 waves without an issue. It's just that 4th phase, since they constantly heal and cleanse themselves, that it's that they start struggling since they don't have any kind of healer.
Yeah, I've heard that like if you can get a Zeta on your Kylo and you have him 7 stars, you know, the unmasked one, that can be a really, really good team.
That's what gives you the survivability is the being able to get the health and the protection back up. Zeta Kylo, the regular Zeta Kylo, the way it's tuned, the Dark Side territory battles, it's not as useful as many would think, just because his damage output versus like these guys right now is very low, so you don't gain back as much action as you would like.
I was wondering if I should gear him and give him a Zeta or not. You know, for that.
I'm considering putting him the bayonet on him and seeing what happens.
Like maybe using him as a tank on.
I really want to know how that goes, because I was thinking the same thing. Because Mike is at gear 12, and I was just really disappointed with how he did.
I think
he hits like a little girl. I was like, seriously?
You know what I've been thinking for a long time? I gotta say this, because this is. I feel like we need an R2-D2 for the dark side. A character that gives stealth.
Yes.
A character that gives stealth to everybody except one character. That would be perfect.
Interesting. That's not what I thought at all. I was totally not thinking that way. I want, combat analysis and number crunch for dark side.
No, think about this, but think about the stealth thing, because Darth Maul's random stealth. Like, it's not like, but if you look at the stealth on R2-D2, if I could do that in dark side territory battles and put the stealth on Kylo so that he's sort of my tank, that would be awesome, don't you think?
Well, Maul can do that because since Kylo's
but he doesn't always. Do you know what I mean?
The stealth is pretty solid on that mechanic. If you're looking for stealth, there's no saying that Maul's doesn't. I mean, you start stealth if you're Sith, so there's no arguing that. If you start, you're all stealth. Whoever you choose, if they're Sith, they're stealth.
Yeah,
that definitely counts, and it's better in my opinion, stealth wise than R2-D2.
I still want an R2-D2 for dark side. I think it would be. Really
That's what I want too. Don't get me wrong, but I want it to be somebody that has multiple faction synergy, like he's Sith, Empire, and whatever else. Like he gives me a percentage based thing to the rest of my dudes, like
here's
R2.
What you could do: Empire / First Order droid,
or something. That
was going to be.
But, dude, what if he was just a droid and he was just, all factions? Or, like I said, man, they just need to do that with bounty hunters or something. Make the bounty hunters accessible to every faction, and then add a bounty hunter that, like, gives bonuses to every other faction.
I think we're going to get a bounty hunter rework in January, February.
Because that would be cool. No, don't do a second bounty hunter rework.
I think you need it soon, because they made it part of the territory battles.
Yeah, I hear you. I guess that's true.
So I wouldn't be shocked if we got Bosk and maybe Django.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask
Django.
you. My thought process with Dark Side Territory battles is the best way to go about it is 4 teams. You need 4 teams as a whole, across the board in Darkside Territory battles. You need the bounty hunters. You need an Empire team. Okay, you need a Sith team, I think, or this is your sort of flex spot. If you don't want to do Sith, you could do Night Sisters, or you could do whatever. But I think Sith would be the best choice for that slot. And then you need another, and then you need the Imperial Troopers team, and that's what you need. Those are the 4 teams you need, and that's all you need to work on. And once you have those 4 teams, you can spread them out across the territory battle as a whole. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that is like what
I agree with the Sith part.
What's that?
Yeah, Sith.
I disagree with the Sith part.
I said Sith or flex. That's what I said. I said you could do whatever you want for the Sith part, but like I think
the Night Sisters would be a much better investment than the Sith
if you can. But it's not possible right now, so it's not even a consideration in my mind.
An Asajj lead with most of the Night Sisters, especially with Acolyte being in the guild shop now. You can farm a pretty decent Night Sister squad.
I watched Warrior talked about this, and he said he tried a Night Sister squad without the zombie in territory battles, and it just didn't work. And he actually wailed out to buy the zombie because like it only worked with the zombie, even in Asajj lead without Talzin. Okay, you still need the zombie for it to work.
It can be flexible because I mean, there's not a Night Sister specific team. So if you don't have a Night Sister, you can throw in a generic tank in there like a short trooper.
Yeah, it's just if Daka dies, you're screwed. That team is done. That's the main problem. Like if Daka dies, you're over. So that's my main issue with the team. Like I tried Night Sister teams and stuff because I have my Night Sisters pretty high actually, gear 10. Across the board for the most part. And
well, I think
gear 10 doesn't do anything for
I think gear 10 is too low to measure. You need to be at like 11, 12 for dark side territory battles at least.
I don't know.
It's tuned right now, yeah. You need to be 12 or at least 11.
Well, whatever. My point being is it doesn't matter. Even if Daka dies, you're just screwed. So, like...
Well... Okay, so but I think in terms of like,
I tell you right now, I'm saving my Zetas and I'm farming those Night Sisters to make that Asajj team because I really want to try it and I think it does work. But I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not saying anything now. But I intend to do it.
I think you want to have the 2 Empire teams, Trooper and then Vanilla. I would say First Order. I feel like First Order's worth investing in for a number of reasons. So you might as well.
So hold on.
You guys mostly agree.
Night Sisters or First Order when it comes to Kylo Ren Unmasked or
no? I think if Kylo Ren Unmasked, if you can put a Zeta on him when he's farmable, if he's more easily farmable, then yes, absolutely. Like if he's easier to get than Talzin, then yes,
which he will be. He would almost have to be. I mean, it's going to be really easy to make him.
Well, timing-wise, I don't know about that, dude. She ended up in the Chromium pack, and I didn't really expect that to happen so quickly.
He said that she was going to be in the Chromium pack.
No. They said that she might eventually find a home there. That's what they said. If you recall, right?
Which they said she's going to be.
They said word for word. But they said
they didn't say she might eventually. They said she will find a home.
No, yeah, word for word. No. Word for word. They said they might eventually find a home.
Okay.
They didn't say it. It was like different. They said it might be different. Like they left it open for a difference, which I thought was kind of odd. And then I think they just got a lot of negative feedback about it. So they're like, yeah, just keep it with the cadence and throw her in the thing.
Now, is she dropping as common as Nihilist? But now here's the other thing that bugs me about her in hindsight, is that she's a 25 shard unlock. So it's like, even if you hit her a couple times in Chromium, it's like it still takes an eternity to get her.
Yeah, it's not viable for most people. That's why I think the Kylo lead is a better choice if you want to go with it. The reason I said Sith is the best choice is because it's the most farmable right now, and it's pretty strong, in my opinion. But then again, you do need Sith Trooper to make Sith work, so that's going to be a hard farm.
Points would be better for people than...
Very hard to farm. Like they have high nodes, like the Sith Assassin, Sith Trooper.
You don't need Assassin.
Whoa. Sith Assassin is in the guild store.
Like the guild store with like how much stuff it has right now, I would almost say like it's a better investment to just focus on gear for a little bit.
I've been doing that for the most part.
So you think the guild currency conversion for gear is really good then?
Not only do I think it's good, I just think it's just it's guaranteed. So I can use my energy. I use my energy like on a daily basis to get like a Carbonti or a stun cuff. It'll take me like 2 or 3 days to get 10. Whereas like in the shop, I can get one like right there, right then.
I agree with Thane on that.
I see.
Well,
I typically only do it
though.
as a finisher. Like I'm like, oh, I need 3 more. Here's 3. Okay.
Oh no, I
changed
like
that,
crazy.
man. It's as good as the Shard Shop. So the Shard Shop gear and the Guild Store gear are basically the same. The Guild Store is loaded now.
It's great. I love it.
And most of us are in guilds where we're doing, the raids on a regular. Like obviously, if you're in a guild where you do like a raid once a week, you might want to change the way you view that. Maybe you want to go for the characters. Maybe you want to go for gear, depending on where you're at. But for us who are like doing raids on a regular, like I don't think like I personally never have any issues of running out of that currency.
Yeah, I go for me personally. I'm going for Barris and gear is what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, our guild's 600 as well. We do just as many raids, but I don't know. There's just a lot of guys they added recently that are super important, I feel like.
Yeah.
What's your Colonel Stark at? I'm just saying.
And I think I talked to Brendo and I talked to a couple other guys who have been helping out. After playing the beta on the for Territory Wars, where you had like unlimited crystals, my view on how to farm has completely changed. I've actually started doing what my girlfriend does, because my girlfriend is very, very picky, not only on who she farms and unlocks, but who she gears. Because before I was like one of those like Pokemon mentality, I need to get everybody, and she's more like like she should have over 2 million GP, but she just doesn't focus on gearing or unlocking people. She just focuses on gearing specific tunes.
That's how.
And after I played the beta for it, and you had like unlimited crystals, and I saw just how many crystals, like I pumped 2 million crystals into gear, and I just saw how many tunes I could get up to gear like 12, only to gear 12, and how much my GP went up. I was like, whoa, like I have a lot of work to do. So from here on out, like I literally already said, like once I'm done with the vets and once I'm done with Captain Han Solo, like I am from Cantina, I'm done farming tunes I do not need and do not plan to gear, because it is ridiculous. I spent 2 million crystals and my GP went only up 100K. And it was ridiculous. I was like, and I just seeing how many Carbontis, how many stun cuffs, how many stun guns, and just how much gear all of these tunes require. I was like, whoa. Like it completely changed my view of how I approach this game.
That's how I've always approached it, though. Personally, I've always approached it with having a focus on specific tunes that I know I'm going to use, I know I'm going to need, and I know I'm going to, get the most uses out of. And those are the tunes that I'm going to work on and focus on. And if I'm not going to gear the character, and I'm not going to really use the character, I'm not going to work on it.
So take it to gear 12, you doofus.
I'm going to eventually.
Yeah, why not?
Well, because I want to finish off. I'm in a mode where I want to finish off the freaking light side. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because my focus right now is.
Hey, me and Brendo clearly thought so.
My focus right now.
I mean, it's absurd, dude.
It's not absurd.
Like completely backwards.
It's not backwards.
But you made it the point to say that you don't do something because of something else, and then you're like, well, that's why I do this, but then you don't go all the way with it.
No, I do go all the way with it. What you don't get is I've been doing this before Gear 12 came out. And I already had a plan before Gear 12 came out, right? And so I'm finishing off that plan that I originally had before freaking Gear 12 dropped, right?
We're just saying that you got to adapt your plan, my man.
And I do adapt my plan. And right now, you can laugh all you want. Right now, okay, my goal is to finish off what I need for Lightside Territory battles. That's my main goal in the game. Get those characters ironed out, clad down. And hey, those characters are going to be useful in the Territory Wars as well, so that's going to be good. But finish that off. Once I get that finished off, I'm going to Gear 12 a few people, not a bunch of people, a few people. I'm sort of working on Thrawn in the background, Gear 12ing Thrawn. I only need his one little thing to Gear 12 him. But, that's the main thing. That's really what it comes down to. But no, I agree with Thane. I think that it's having a a tight-knit focus on specific things is an important thing in this game. If you try to spread yourself too thin, you're gonna, not be able to, not be able to handle all the different modes.
Well, I agree with both of you. I agree with both of you 100%. This game, you cannot. This game, more than anything, is a game of resource management. Which every online, every similar game is a game of resource management. But what you need to do and how you need to gear characters, whether it's for arena, whether it's for raids, whatever your goal is, you need to do it so you're only. That's why that one team that just did the 30+ million on the tank raid was so great for me, because I looked at those 5 characters and they're all good. They're all multi-use characters. It's not like you have a Tuscan Shaman on that team where you're just getting that aid mechanic. That sucks when you're gearing up Ewok Elder or Tuscan Shaman to run a team that you're only going to use in one phase. It's bullshit. And it's like, well, now you have 5 of the Metatunes that you could just gear up and use anywhere, and it also rocks the tank. Perfect.
Well, and that's what I'm doing with the tank. So I'm actually going to be working on a tank team after I get done with light side territory battles. And the tank team that I'm working on, all the characters are used for dark side territory battles as well. And they're also will be good for a dark side arena team as well on top of that. So all of these characters
that I'm going to work on. Doesn't matter.
No, but I want to do it. It's something I want to do because I want to get better rewards. I want to get better, more currency. Basically, is one of the main things.
More currency is key now.
I'm gonna work on, what's his name now? I keep on forgetting. Krennic, and I'm almost done with my short trooper, so he's almost good. I'm gonna work on Krennic. I'm gonna work on Thrawn, gearing and starring Krennic, and gearing Thrawn, or not Thrawn, Tarkin, gearing Tarkin. And then Sith Assassin and Sith Trooper. And all of those characters, all those 4 characters, are going to be used in Dark Side Territory battles, and they're going to be used on the tank as well. So it's all about looking at characters that you need for specific modes and picking characters that are going to do multiple things for you in the game. They're going to be able to play in multiple areas, right? And so that's what I'm going to go for eventually when it comes to Dark Side Territory battles. I'm not going to just work on a character for Dark Side TB. I'm going to work on a character for Dark Side TB that I can use in raids, and then I can also probably end up using in arena one day. So that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I think the teams we were talking about are useful across the board. Maybe with the exception of Krennic and Death Trooper, but there's still good tunes to have that open up doors for you.
No, I think Krennic, you can run a really good arena team with Krennic on it.
No, but he's saying outside of their faction, they don't really have a place.
Oh, outside of the okay.
Yeah, that's my point. Outside of Empire, you really you need to have them on an Empire team. I think there was a Sith Empire hybrid team that had Krennic on it. That looked cool.
You could do Empire that.
Well, the great thing about that Empire team we were talking about for Dark Side Territory battles, the Thrawn with the Krennic and the Shore Trooper and the
Death Trooper.
No, not Death Trooper, but the what's his name?
Storm.
No. Tarkin. And the Tarkin, all 4 of those guys, you could put all 4 of those guys on a raid team with either Jyn or Luke and solo an entire phase of the raid, right? And you can also use those guys on a Zeta Vader team in the Rancor and have a nice Zeta Vader team as well. So, you see what I'm saying? These characters that we talked about for the Dark Side Territory battles, they're also good in other areas of the game. The only thing that annoys me is the bounty hunters and the troopers, right?
And the troopers.
Those guys, the troopers, you might be able to throw them in on a defensive team in your, in your territory wars. But aside from that, it'd be
good to have an arena if you have a Talzin meta that you have to deal with at any point.
I don't know, maybe.
So that there's that. Oh, they killed Talzin. They destroyed Night Sisters. It's just
But do you really think
the team they're built on?
Do you think Talzin's really going to own the meta completely?
I don't think so.
That depends on Jedi Ray.
Yeah. No, I think it depends on what happens in 6 months, not on Jedi Ray, because 6 months from now is when people are going to start to have Talzin a lot more. So
well, she's viable like at a lower start count.
Yeah, but who's gonna gear her and really do that? Like, I don't
Nihilus, at 3 stars. What the dark side needs are like characters like more than 2 good characters like Nihilus and like Thrawn, and the problem now is just the way the game's set up. The dark side's been relegated to like a luxury investment where you just invest in it purely because you like it, and if you go all the way in it, you gimp yourself in the game otherwise. And it's like it's frustrating because they don't have the arena viability or the raid viability that the light side has.
I mean, you can look at.
I totally disagree.
But he means for like cost to payout ratio.
But that's not. But
it
even
costs
so,
a lot less to get farther.
Yeah, you're right about that. But they are viable in raids and.
But you have to pay the price to get there. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they're luxury investments because, like, you could actually. I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say there are more good rebel characters than more good dark side characters.
No, you're right. No, you're right about that.
That sucks. That sucks.
You're 100% right.
Because that's just one faction.
Yeah, the rebels are insane. Like, yeah, and they're only going to keep on getting more insane.
I would like to talk a little shop about Imperial Troopers because they're like the team, because I never got into clones. They're like the team that I'm like flirting with, that I'd like to try to dive into, that seem fun, that seem like interesting. And, I was thinking of like, and which ones that I'd like to use. And it's crazy. Like there's a lot of options. And I really like the way Stark looks.
I would do Veers, Stark, Stormtrooper, I would save Death Trooper and Shore Trooper for the other team, the Thrawn team. And then I would use, like, I don't know, what are the other Imperial Troopers? I can't even remember right now. There's...
and then you have Magma Trooper.
Snow Trooper, yeah. You would put Snow Trooper on that team. So it would be Veers, Stark, Snow Trooper, and Stormtrooper, and then a 5th. Whichever one you want. I don't know, I guess.
Death.
No, Death, you're saving Death. You're going to save Death.
Yeah, I would not put Death on that team. I think you want Veers and Stark, Snow Trooper, Stormtrooper, and you want Shore Trooper.
I want to save my Shore Trooper, personally. I want to save my Shore Trooper for the Imperial team.
I mean, Magma Trooper has some many options.
Yeah, Magma Trooper could be good. I would say that would be okay.
Kind of like bottom of the barrel.
No, Magma Trooper doesn't suck. Actually, I used Magma Trooper. In one of my notes. He does that thing where he hits like 2 people on his basic, which is actually really useful.
Well, yeah, but
he's like the worst character in the game.
He's Jerry. There's a reason he's called Jerry. He's just the guy. He's just Jerry. But like, I actually heard, I think it was on Shattered Order where they were talking about led Imperial Trooper team, which sounded off the hook. And like just with the sheer amount of counters that you begin. So every time there's an off-turn assist, Gar Saxon intervenes. You can have 3 different. Do that. You just can't do it on the Imperial Trooper node.
And there's like I'm talking about. There's like 4 Imperial Trooper nodes.
I thought there were 2.
So there's the one that requires you to have a lead of what's his name? I can't remember anything right now. Of Veers. The Veers lead requirement with Stark. And then there's the node that requires Imperial Troopers. And then there's the node that requires there's
Snow
2
Trooper.
Imperial Trooper nodes, I think. I could have
Snow Trooper has a requirement node of his own.
And then Snow Trooper.
But you don't need to lead. You could use the Gar there. I mean, like it sounded like a lot of fun.
I heard that Gar falls apart just because of all of the dazes that they put on your face.
I don't think so. I mean, there's days, but I mean that's
they put
any
days
character.
all over you. No, they put days all over you. Specifically in
but I mean that's any character deals with days. Like just because
that destroys Gar Saxon's lead entirely. Like that's the whole point is the countering for the Gar Saxon lead, right?
But that destroys the whole trooper synergy anyway once they're dazed.
I suppose.
Yeah, the troopers assist too, bro.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about assist. I'm talking about counterattacks. which is what Ghost Accent's lead is
Yeah,
all
but
about.
it's the same days as both.
Counterattacks and it stops assist. Any out of turn attacking.
Yeah, so Imperial Troopers, their biggest thing is they have that out of turn attack from Veers too. So
the whole key about the team is that you need to kill one person really quickly. Really put Magma Trooper in there because the damage isn't there. And
that's why I think you need Death Trooper.
Well, I think that's why you need Stark, because I think Stark brings a lot of stuff to the table. I mean, to play around with. I'm only like 35 out of 80 to unlock them, so it's gonna be a while.
I want to try Veers, Stark, Snow, Storm, and Death. That's what I want to try.
Yeah, so I'll just say this. I'll say this.
Hold on, I want to say one thing before our viewers rip us apart. It's Stark, not Stark.
Really? Okay.
It's not Stark. Is that like a British thing where you say St. John St. John?
Derek.
I'm sorry, but no one else calls him that.
That's British. No, that's British. It's like how British
I just went with every YouTube video I saw, and it was like, all right, it's Stark.
Yeah.
It's Stark. It's Stark because we're from America, all right? And I know we're from America.
America!
I have an orange president. Yeah, we have an orange president, all right?
Okay, that was all right. So... Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you guys, though. I'm not going to be working on Imperial Troopers anytime soon for Darkseid. I mean, like, my guild already gets 30 stars in it, so, like, I don't see the need to, like, go heavily focus Darkseid now. Like, I'd rather
30 stars sucks.
I don't care.
What?
I don't care. Like, I'd rather finish off my light side stuff and get that solid, and then move Darkseid.
That's insane. That's insane. Lightside territory battles is fine. We're going to get 41 stars on that eventually. Darkside territory battles is the struggle. So I would argue it's actually worth your investment in Darkside because we're not getting what we need to get in Darkside. Where in Lightside, we're getting what we need.
We're already,
so why improve what you don't need to improve?
Well, here's this is the whole shiny thing again that I want to bring up again, where people like constantly move to working on different things because of things that come out. I'm not gonna.
Well, that's the game.
No, it's not. I disagree entirely. I disagree entirely with that. I'm with Warrior on this, where like you shouldn't go ooh shiny all the time and start working and start changing your plan all the time. If you constantly changing what you're doing, you're never going to get anything done. Right?
It's so not the message of the quote. That is so not. It is not to ignore. Okay,
I'm not saying to ignore it. I'm just
what I'm saying is that your efforts are better suited. Like you're refining a light side territory battles excursion because we're rolling in light side. I mean, we're in the same guild. We're rolling light side. It's going to be we're improving consistently. Dark side. Well, no, but
it's because people are improving
dark side
too.
No, it's because we have the power and it's easier. Dark side, which is much harder. Stars. So for once a month, we're going to have a good territory battle thing. You need to go, they're going to be every other week, and there's going to be a 3-week gap between light side territory battles, and we're just going to suck at dark side. You need to focus on dark side. It is.
It goes light side, territory war, and territory war is like 2 days, man. It's 2 days. Okay, it's not a week. It's 2 days. All right, so
it's
and then
light side territory and then dark side territory. No. Are they going to do one or two?
Listen. It's light side, okay. Then it's territory wars. Then it's dark side. Then it's territory wars. Then it's light side. Back and forth. All right. They're
so
rotating.
It's every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So you have every month you've got 2 light side and 2 dark side. That's the way.
That's why dark sides, and that's why. So half the month you're going to be getting shit rewards.
Okay.
That's so you need to work to get the dark side up, so you have good rewards every week.
Here's what it comes down to: those light side characters are going to help me more than the dark side characters will across the board. Right, working on those guys, and it's going to take me, and it's going to take.
I'm not talking about you. No, I'm talking about everybody.
The characters that we want to work on, though, the fact of the matter is the characters that you need to work on for Darkseid. Okay, most of them are hard farms to get to 7 stars to be able to use in all phases of the territory battle. Okay, and because they're hard farms, you can farm them for stars all you want, but gearing them is not gonna be helpful until you're actually able to use them anyways. So what I'm saying is it's okay, and it's actually a good idea to finish gearing your light side guys that you need to finish off while you're maybe working on starring those guys for the dark side territory battle, because most of like Veer's hard node farm, Thrawn you need to work on light side characters for anyways. You've got Shore Trooper, who's a hard node farm. You've got all these guys are hard node farms, or they're guild.
Yeah, that's why the dark side's hard.
That's what I'm saying. Is my point is that's why, like, there's no point in shifting your focus and gearing those dark side characters when you're not going to be able to use them anyways. Finish gearing off what you need for light side, and then move on to the dark side gear.
So hold on, let me comment on that one really quick. This is why I disagree with that specifically, for territory battles. You're not going to be able to use them in the later phases, but most guilds where you get most of your stars are in those first 4 to 5 phases. That's where, like, even in top end guilds, like even in my guild, where, like, in order for us to get, to the next, to 42 stars in light side, we don't need, for us to have more 7-star characters. What we need is to be able to get another star in phase 4. So in reality, what we need is better 4-star tunes. And that's the argument that we're running into with territory battles, that yes, you ideally want them to be 7 stars, but since the bulk of your stars come from the first 5 to 4 phases, 4 and 5 stars, you can start, gearing them and having them kick ass. Because if you're in a guild that's kicking ass in the first 5 phases, then the next other 2 phases almost become, they don't matter, because your GP can just push you into 1 star in each zone.
Honestly, here's what I have to say, is that I don't think anyone should focus on Darkside TB, okay, right now, until we actually see what the changes are to it. Because if they change it, and it's a lot easier, and you can complete these things with lower geared characters like you can on the light side, okay, for some of this stuff, I wouldn't go crazy for the next 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I'd wait for the next Darkside territory battle. Crazy. And I would see what it looks like, and then I would adjust what I'm doing based on that. That's what I would do.
Right. So what I was saying earlier, like let's say they adjust it to where it's proportionally the same as light side, proportionally the same to light side. You're still going to need them. You still need your light side tunes for the most part to be at least gear 8. To really struggle with good mods. I mean, that's another thing. Do you have the mods, or are you going to move over your mods? That's another one. You want them ideally at gear 9.
Modless.
Yeah, I did mine mostly modless.
And in order to be able to do the full 6 waves to, like, when you get to the later phases, you ideally want them to be at gear 10. So,
I don't think you need. I don't know. It depends. We can't say that.
Well,
no, yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Be as hard as the light side.
Well, in the light side, I can throw some gear 9 characters. Like, my Phoenix was at gear 8, was able to 6 of 6, phase 4, and even phase 5. Okay, in a lot of cases.
That's Phoenix. That's the way Phoenix works as a group. That's how Night Sisters work.
I'm just saying.
You can do the same thing with Night Sisters.
Yeah, that's a one-off.
Yeah, that's a one-off. So that's what I'm saying. In general, like, you can find like those one-offs. Like, yes, I can take a CLS in the first 3 phases by himself, and he's gonna he's gonna do all 6 waves. But that's a one-off. It's
even my Rogue One. I have 3 of them.
Generally and proportionally, that's where you want your teams to be. You want them to be ideally as close to gear 10 as you can in order to do all of these things comfortably.
Yeah. So I just have to say that. I think that if you're free to play and you're looking at all of this stuff, there's a lot to do in this freaking game, right? And for a lot of people, you look at this and you got Dark Side TB, you got Light Side TB, you got this Territorial Wars, you got all this stuff. I think it's good to have a focus and not deviate heavily from said focus. Right.
But going back to what Brenda was saying is like, this is the new focus in the game. So if you're trying to help you, no, hold on. So here's the thing. So free to play, phases 6 and 7 aren't even an issue to you. Like 6 and 7 are an issue to me because I'm in a top 100 guild. But for people who are free to play and they're in that mid tier thing where you're barely struggling to get 35 stars, is all that being pulled from? That's all being pulled from phases 5 and lower. So even if your tunes are at 5 stars, you still should be gearing them in order for them to be viable and work up until phase 5, because that's where your guild needs you at. They don't need you at phases 6 and 7. That's something that some of the higher end guilds need you. Like for me, I don't have an option. I need to get them to 7 stars because that's where my guild needs me to be. But for people like you or someone who might be a little bit lower than you, your guild doesn't need you to have to perform at phases 6 and 5 and 6. They need you to perform at 4 or lower.
Well, I would argue, at least in Lightside TB, we do need to be able to. We're getting to the point where we should be focusing on getting those higher tunes so that we can complete those things and push for more, right? Because we can, and we're at a place where we can now with Darkside TB. I think as a whole, as a guild, we're in a place where okay, we can sort of work Darkside slowly but surely and move it up, and that's really just how it is across the board. Right? Because, it's going to take a while to slowly and surely work these characters. I'm lucky because I've been playing the game since launch. I've unlocked, I've got these characters at 4 stars, maybe 5, already. And I could probably throw them and use them if I had them all at Gear 11 or whatever. But, honestly, for me personally, because I've been playing since launch of the game, I have a full Gear 11 Sith team at 5 stars plus. I have a full Gear 11 Empire team. Actually, I have 2 Empire teams that I could use. Empire/Sith teams that I could use in addition to that. And then all that I would really need to work is the troopers and the bounty hunters. And I don't need to work them because really it's just mostly the troopers and bounty hunters are for the extra currency and for those extra nodes. And that's not really helping you in terms of the star. You see what I'm saying? So it's not as beneficial to work those things right away when you could be getting more currency, as an example, from the light side one.
No,
if I worked
you get more currency from dark side because your currency is lower at 30 stars. We're going to be fine.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the extra nodes, right? Because the bounty hunters give you the currency from the extra node, right? They don't give you any.
You want.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's nice to have. I don't have. Okay, I don't have bounty hunters. To be honest with you, I was doing those just with Boba Fett and IG-88 as a duo, and I think I maybe got a wave or 2 down, which was the best that I had. That unfortunately was just the best that I had for that.
And
but it's tough with bounty hunters. I mean, that's not a fun team to invest in.
No, and I'm not going to invest in them for a little while. It's going to be a little while before I do. Same thing with with troopers. Troopers will be sooner than bounty hunters, but I'm going to focus on Krennic and Tarkin and those characters before I even move on to troopers. Right? You've got.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between being in a guild at your level and mine. I have to focus on those teams because
but how much do you focus stars? On? How much do you have time to focus on?
That's my sole focus. That's I told you before we started recording. My sole focus is bounty hunters, Imperial troopers, and Empire because my team. We already know we can push X amount of stars. I don't it does not even in light side, my light side team, we know we can push, a certain amount of stars and we're good. But where we are focused on now is those special missions, because those special missions, if you add up all the currency you get from all those special missions, it's getting almost 10 extra stars. Yeah. That's where you get a lot of your currency.
And that's the thing is, I on the light side, now that I have a 5-star Han, 5-star Rolo, working on those characters, and working on the other characters for those special missions on the light side, I'll be getting that currency for my team on the light side way before I'm ever going to be able to do it on the dark, because it's going to take months to work on those characters when I could finish the light and dark side the light side characters really, really soon. You see what I mean? It's about prioritizing what you can finish when and how fast. And
so I think it's about a return on investment. It's about where is the return on investment.
In addition to what I'm saying, that too. And the best return
and that's
on
my
investment.
whole point.
But they're saying you'll get more investment return from getting more territory stuff for your guild.
Which is the exact opposite of what you're saying.
No, it's not. Because he just said that getting those special missions where you get the currency is like getting an additional 10 stars or whatever, right? Correct? That's what you just said, Thane?
Missions are everything. That's where you get most of your currency from.
So if I can in the next month to 2 months get all of those special missions on the light side ironed down, so that I'm earning that currency for my guild from there, but it would take me maybe 4 or 5 months to do the dark side ones, right? What makes more sense to do? Return on investment, faster return on investment over here than over there.
Dark side. What I was attempting to tell you was that when you looked at our returns from the guild missions that we just did, we had one guy that did the first special guild mission.
It was crap.
Yeah. That's why you need to work on the dark side, because you're already getting it on the light side, and your 30 coins, it's a little drop in a big pot of water, where we have nothing coming from dark side. So for people who are struggling on dark side, that's why dark side work is more important, much more important than light side work now.
Well, all right. Well, I don't know. It really, like I said, it really comes down to the philosophy about how I go about the game. And my philosophy will always be to not get, to not jump around. Because what happens when the next event comes 3 months from now, 4 months from now, right?
You do it?
No, I'm not going to, and then I'm not done with the previous thing. And then I'm not done with the previous thing, right? What I'm saying is the new
Here's the thing. When new content comes around, by the time that new content comes around, there's already enough people in your guild that could carry you through it. Like if you, right now, like if you don't have a hat team, do you really care in your guild? No, you don't care.
No, I care.
If you don't have a rank 4 team,
personally.
Do you care? No, you don't care. Before, hat was a guild-wide thing. Like you needed certain people to perform at a certain level in order to complete, hat. And the same thing with the Rancor before it. So when the next game mode past, territory battles or past territory wars or whatever it is, we are going to have territory battles and territory wars on farm where we know exactly where to platoon, we know exactly where to do, and we're autoing certain things, and we have enough GP to where we can just pretty much deploy in the first couple of phases and not even do missions.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like since my light side is really strong, when I'm deploying in the phases, like I get more points from deploying than I do from doing actual missions because of how strong my roster is. You
mean in dark side?
In dark
side,
it's
embarrassing. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like the total opposite with light side territory battles, where it's like you're. I mean, the bulk of my roster's light side, and it sucks to think about it from. I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't realize it was going to be this bad. And especially since I've been like prepping for dark side territory battles for like 2 months, I've been slowly chipping away at stuff, and I've really accomplished nothing. Yeah. Like just nothing in the game. Like I don't have Krennic unlocked yet. I don't have Shore Trooper unlocked yet. I 7-starred Nihilus.
I got my Shore Trooper to 6 stars, which was good. So
my Shore Trooper still needs like 50 shards. It's a long farm, Death Trooper needs 25. That's a long farm, and the veterans totally ruined that.
See,
Krennic, I need another 1.5 stars for him.
See, I'm mostly good on dark side, except for the new stuff you need, the Imperial Troopers and the Bounty Hunters, and then the Krennic, right? Like in terms of starting characters,
I think this kind of goes hand in hand with dark side territory battles here, which is territory wars. And I think we should just kind of wrap up. We're dragging a bit here, so let's shift the focus a little bit onto territory wars.
We never actually talked about what we thought about it, just in general. Like, do you guys like it? Do you guys enjoy it?
It sucks as bad as light side territory battles, but it's the new game. I mean, it sucks as bad as light side.
I think it's actually, in my opinion, I feel like, I don't know if I'm right or not, I haven't really done the math, but I feel like you need less characters for dark side territory battles than you do for light side.
No, there's just less characters, period, for dark
Well, no,
side.
I get it. But what I'm saying is I think you need less teams. You need to work on less teams. You don't need...
I mean...
The amount of teams you need for light side is much greater than the teams.
Maybe by one, but it sucks.
I feel like it's a squeeze. You need bigger dark side tunes. You need light side ones. I feel like dark side was way harder.
Yeah, okay. All right, interesting.
Well, I think really where the rosters are going to come into play is on Territory Wars, because I'm dreading it. Like, really, I mean, I know Thane did the beta, but
I did too.
I'm dreading... Did you as well? Okay. Like, you guys did the beta. I did not. I mean, I think about, like, my roster, and I have, like, maybe 40 or 50 tunes over 6,000 power. But they're garbage. They're junk. And I don't have mods to put on them. I'm just going to be slinging out teams left and right just to fill... I mean, whatever. I guess everybody's going to be going through the same thing, but my roster sucks.
Did you look at our guild, right, in Territory Wars, Brendo?
A chance.
So the teams filled out like really fast. Like people just are dropping teams left and right on it, and it's looking pretty good. Like with the teams that people are dropping, it's looking like we have a good defense. And I feel like even if you don't have a lot of coordination with it, it doesn't matter because people kind of know that like, okay, these are defense teams, so we're gonna put these teams down for defense. And like the only coordination we really had was like, hey, put 4 teams down for defense. Each person put 4 teams down for defense, right? And save your 4 best teams for offense, right? And then save B teams and C teams and all that kind of stuff for offense. And use your B teams and C teams in the beginning, right, to chip away and go from there. But I don't know, it's kind of fun. I have to say that I really liked it because I could go in there and just kill some teams, have some fun killing some teams that you don't normally get to fight or play against, because they're unique and different because, well, you can't do 50 meta teams in every single place because
Skycrack can.
You can only use your one team. What?
Skycrack can.
What's that mean?
It means that he's like a really big whale and he could probably put a bunch of meta teams.
Oh,
like
I don't know who Skycrack is. I've never heard that name before.
He's an Alliance guy. Shout out to Skycrack and the Alliance. But what were some of the strategies you guys had from being in the beta? Like, what did you pick up?
I picked up some interesting defensive teams. A Luminara lead with a second healer and 3 tanks is really freaking annoying to fight, because you just have to sort of chip away at it until it dies, and it takes a while. So I did like Luminara with like Jedi Consular and Royal Guard, Stormtrooper, and like another tank. And it's kind of an annoying team to put on defense because people are gonna not really want to face it. And like if someone takes their meta team against it, well, guess what? They just wasted their meta team on a stupid team that was gonna get owned by it anyways. So you really have to think about what team you're going up against and what teams you have available to you to use. And you don't want to waste, your meta teams on like these kind of really annoying teams. But at the same time you do, because it's an annoying team that if you use a B or C team against, you might lose your B or C team, against it. Just because of how stupid it is.
I mean, I'm assuming it's all going to work itself out, but like it is a little bit confusing until I like run through this. I think
it comes down to setting strong defensive teams in the front and in the very back, right?
Well, what do you want to like put the best teams in the back? This is something we were talking about today. I feel like you want to backload it because your territory points are you lose more banners that way. But at the same time, you also don't want to front like have nothing in the front because then you're giving away banners.
That's what I'm saying. Like think of it like a castle sort of.
Yeah.
And you put strong defenses in the front and in the back, right? And in the middle you put a bunch of random crap, right? And so like basically what you do is, if you have like, let's say 10 strong teams in the front and the rest of them are kind of okay, mediocre or whatever, then the people that are coming up against the strong teams are going to have to use up their strong teams, right? And then you put the rest of your strong teams in the very back, and by the time they get to the very back, it's going to be hard to take it because they've already used up some of their strong teams on the front.
Based on the beta, that's actually a really bad strategy, having heavy front and heavy back loading.
That's not what I saw.
Just based on the teams, because both of the guilds that we fought against in my beta guild, which is mainly my personal guild, they actually did that exact same thing where they did a heavy front load and a heavy back load, and it actually makes it incredibly easy because once we realize that those middle ones are garbage. People in my guild were sending in Kylo Rens by themselves, Zeta Kylo Rens, and just knocking out single teams with just one tune. And because we basically knew, like, okay, all this middle stuff is just pudding, which means that that back row is really hard. So we're just saving those teams.
Are you in a whale guild?
Guild, yes.
Okay, so I think this strategy works better for guilds that are not super high on GP.
I think it doesn't matter regardless of what GP you're at. It's a numbers game. Honestly, it's a numbers game, and because you're, I would agree if you're facing.
Why would it matter? It matches you up against guilds that you're supposed to be equal with.
Yeah, but what I'm saying it matters because they're not going to have a bunch of Zeta Kylos to do what you're talking about with. They're not going to have
Zeta
all
Kylo
the
was
tunes.
huge.
They only need one.
Zeta Kylo's huge.
Yeah, but we're talking about We're talking about guilds at different levels. The guild that you're in obviously is going to have a bunch of really good characters, really strong, right? But the guild that like me and Brendo is in, we're not gonna go. We're gonna
go up against teams that have Zeta Kylos, absolutely.
Yeah, but 100%. Not everybody on the guild is gonna have a Zeta Kylo.
No, but we have
a Zeta Kylo, a Zeta Savage. There's a lot of tunes that can single-handed. People in the beta were commenting on like 2-man squads that could take out really crappy teams. So like if you run into those like D and C teams, or like even a really crappy C team or an F team, like you can just run them over with like 2 tunes. And if you realize like, oh, all this middle stuff is just mush. First of all, you're exposing your ships, because once they get up on top of that top one and they expose your ships, your ships are completely free reign, and you can just walk through that. So because everybody loses a ship on defense, and once you realize like all that middle stuff is just smush and just pudding, you can just send out 1 or 2-man squads that can take out an entire team.
We placed meta teams
in my opinion, you at least want to put one good team in every place, in my opinion.
I don't know, and I feel like we don't
just
have
like if you were gonna, just like you said, a castle, if it were a castle like you said, there's a thing that you do in a castle you didn't mention. You have inner fortification, outer fortification, and then you have like your outside area or whatever, but you want to fill these things with obstacles so that your enemies have to pay the price for crossing the boundary. You don't want to just have a defensive post. You want to make it cost them when they get between places. So if you're doing these 2 and 3 middle zones and it doesn't cost you anything, then it doesn't matter and it's not going to help. So you're just building 2 walls instead of having any actual defense. So you want to throw at least one good team, in my opinion, in every node.
One of the things we did in my beta guild that I was in RSG, by the way. And one of the things that we did in that was we put like very strong Empire teams in the middle. So like Zeta Vader teams, we had like a lot of Zeta Vader teams and some Palpatine teams, some Sith teams, right? Some Darth Maul teams. And then in the middle, and then in the front and the back is where we put all our Luke Skywalkers and Rex and all the different meta teams that we had some Night Sisters and some different stuff right in the front and back, and then in the middle we had like a bunch of B and C teams, but then we had like 15 or so dark side teams that were really strong, like Sith and Empire, and so that's kind of what we did, and it worked. We got one territory in the front beaten. And they didn't even get through our middle territory, and we were like 2.5 or something like
I
that.
hope we find the same experience in that we go up against a really easy opponent and we get some Zetas. Really, my secret.
Your opponent
you
now.
know you still get rewards if you lose, right?
I want the Zetas.
You'll get Zetas if you lose. You just won't get as many.
Zetas. I want them all.
You want them all.
The question that I guess I have would be, so, like, I mean, we're in an 88 million power guild, so we're not. I mean, that's like a good guild. It's not. I think Thane, what are you guys, like 120? I think 110. High or low? Like what range?
Almost at 118.
Well, we'll say 120. We're at like 90 or at 120, rounding up. So it's like, there's, the opponent level is evened out. So that's the thing. We're always going to face equal power. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like the people that are active in the territory battle or the territory war that are the power. So your guild power is irrelevant. It's how many people have signed up for it that matter. Right?
Yes, and also that determines how many deployments you have to do per territory. So if you have like 30 people sign up, it'll be 13 per territory. Something like that.
Okay, well, I'd like to know two things from Thane. A, what you think the best strategy would be without giving away all your trade secrets. But as many as you basically just spill the beans, basically. And then the second thing is big power players exploiting this. Like how many, like to me, I think you nailed it earlier. Actually, sidebar, are you comfortable talking about that?
Yes.
Okay, so back. The other thing that I wanted to ask you about is how a larger power player can put themselves in a lower power guild to exploit territory war. Those are the two things to wrap about.
First one, as far as like you're saying, as far as like what's the best strategy, I would say is protect your ships, because that's an untapped potential and untapped resource.
What do you mean by that?
Because if you can stop them from getting or really struggle to getting to your ships, that's a whole part of the other team's roster that can't be used. So especially if you're in a lower end, which is going to go to where I'm going to go to where you were talking about, is if you're in a lower end guild with and you can protect your ships, that's someone that doesn't have a very high roster that can't get past those get access to those ships. Huge amount of banners that they're not going to even have access to. As far as what you were saying, is that's exactly. So if you look at the rewards specifically for guilds that are between 60 million and 19 million, those rewards are very, very, very similar. So personally, like if someone like me who's in a let's say 120 million guild guild, if I was for whatever reason saying talk to my guild leader and said, hey, listen, if 10 million, if this reward bracket is between 10 million and 19 million, three of the players can leave the guild, which will drop the amount of people in the guild from 50 to 47, but we'd still have enough GP to be at 10 million, right? Now all of a sudden you're going to be matched up with a guild that potentially is far less in GP than you, because in reality, which top end guild is going to be missing players? Not very many, right? So you could potentially going to be dropped down to facing a team that is far inferior than you, and then those three players that left can hit up a guild that is very close to 60 million, and with those three entering that 60 million guild, all of a sudden they're now a 60 million guild, right? So if you have those three with high-end meta teams, and you put those at the front line, you put CLS, Kenobi Barris with 100 plus speed on each one of those squads, a 60 million, a 50, 60 million GP guild is not going to be able to touch or do anything to those teams. They're not even going to be able to smile and laugh at them.
Yeah, you're basically making a wall that you can cross.
Exactly. So there is going to be a wall that they cannot cross. So now your guild, your top end guild, is still getting those 100 and whatever million in rewards, and because they're being faced now with an inferior guild, because now all of a sudden they might be matched up against someone who has 80 million GP, and then 80 million GP is like, well, what the hell? We only have 47 players. They have 47 players, but their GP is massive. Like right now, my team has to face a team that's 4 million GP higher than us, which we're kind of worried about. But that could very well happen. Like you miss 3 people or 4 people, and the game is going to be forced to match you up with someone that is far inferior than you, because it has to match you up with who has an equal amount of players, not just who has an equal amount of GP. And then those other players that left.
So it's like, so your roster size is in itself almost potentially as much of a weapon as your power.
Like if you have 4 people, 3 people that left and go to a 50 million GP a guild, or a 60 million GP, how many, what's a Sigma guild that's 60 million GP? They're not even able to do probably heroic tank right at that point, right?
Yeah. Point that I think what we're trying to say is that you could go down to a lower bracket guild and basically block off that guild, which actually might benefit a guild like Thanes, where say they're in the 120 and they go down to the 110 bracket. Everybody in the 110 bracket, they might have 50 guys rolling in. Or I guess it's matched by player number, though, isn't it?
That's what I was saying. Like if you're in a 110, if you have a 110 GP guild at 46, for instance, the game is going to do its best to match you up with another guild that also has 46. Well, but here's my point: how many guilds over 100 GP have only 46 members? That's very rare.
Yeah, very rare indeed. Now, what about if you would fill those, essentially put 3 alts in, like old time ticket?
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because what you want to do is you still at the 10 million GP, right?
Sure. Well,
you still want it to be, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, if you go down to a lower bracket, the roster depth of those 47 guys plus the 3 alts is much greater. Essentially, but it's closer. Those teams are closer, and you might get a loss that way. So I see what you're saying. It's better to have the 47 and not.
You want to have that 46, 47.
Do you really think that this is going to happen a lot, though? Like, this seems like a lot of work for such a little amount.
Really?
It's actually not a lot of work at all.
It's not a work at all.
It's an auto win for in the newest phase of this game. Yeah, it's not a lot of work for a big people.
No, I mean, it seems like a lot of work for the guild leaders to have to shift people around, move people around. It seems like it would only work in a guild conglomerate.
Because see, right now you have people that merc for heroic A18. Like it happens all the time, right? So the guild leader just says, hey, I'm gonna go merc. I'm gonna be gone for a couple of days or a day, and I'll be back. And it's like, okay, cool. We'll bring in an alt to do your 600 or what have you. But would you rather have the Zetas or would you rather have the 600? Personally, I would rather have the Zetas, right?
It seems like
it would take the Zetas every time.
It seems like it would only make sense, in like I said, a guild conglomerate where you have multiple guilds who work together. Like, it doesn't seem like this would be something a random guild would do. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like you would have to be us or RSG or someone.
But it just takes one. It just takes one to figure it out, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to, exploit, the system that way. You get caught and potentially get banned or anything, which I don't think it would happen. But I
don't even see the logic in how they would ban you for that. Like,
you'd have to read. You'd have to read.
No, you can't get banned for that. You'd just be like, I was playing the game. I'm retarded.
You could say the same thing about the thing they're banning for people right now. But
there's no way that they actually ban people.
They did 7 days. People have 7-day bans.
Did anybody from the Alliance get banned?
I don't know. Someone posted in RSG though that they got banned for 7 days.
Crazy. Maybe
because also another thing that's important in territory battles is having like more resources than the other side. So if you want to play it legitimately, you want to have as many tunes at your disposal as possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But only
sandbag.
usable ones though.
I wouldn't sandbag.
No, because if you have, let's say you have a lot of unusable tunes, those can be filler in certain ones on defense, which leaves you your B and C teams open for offense.
Thane, do you really think? I think like if we have this system where people use 4 teams for defense, right, and there's 50 people in the guild, right, then that's more than enough. You don't need more than that. So why have crappy crap characters in there? You know what I mean?
Because you put those, because a crappy team, especially on lower guilds, I'd much rather drop like have like a like 5 squads of what do you call them, like those 70 level crap D teams fill up on defense on your filler platoons, and that way that leaves you open with your C and D and your B teams. That way you don't have to give up your B teams or C teams, because you only need so many high level on defense. You don't need to have everything be A and B teams on defense.
Gotcha.
You need a lot of those filler.
All right, so just to wrap up, I know we went a little long on some of this stuff, but it was fun, and I think the discussion is a little bit abnormal with all the different game modes. So to wrap this up just by talking about where we're at in the game and what we're doing. Furious, what have you been up to in the game?
I'm just farming the veterans. Nothing too great. It's a bummer. I'm just trying to get
drops.
Anybody else that worked on?
Yeah, that's all I did, man. Just the veterans. I did everything that I could to refresh it as much as I could. I saved crystals.
Okay.
What about your normal energy?
Normal energy, I've been doing credit and shore.
Cool.
Now, Thane, what are you working on?
Almost wrapping up the veterans, because I was working on them ever since they went to shipments. I'm still just getting them from shipments and just doing my regular canteen energy that I get on a daily basis to farm pretty much exclusively Han, and they're pretty much both on pace right now. They have, let me see, I have both of them to 30 out of 100.
Oh, I hate you so much. I hate you so much, dude. I hate you so much.
You're a bit ahead of me. I think my Chewie is almost 5 stars and my Han is almost 6.
Yeah. I started working on them ever since they hit shipments, man. I was like not taking a risk on that one.
Did you get the introduction packs that they had?
That was the only ones I was like, yes, I'm going to get these because I know they're going to be needed.
Smart man, dude. Smart man. I'm kicking myself for not getting those.
And then right now I'm close to being done with Veers. Veers is I need 19 shards, so I'm farming him. And then from besides that, I'm actually farming some of these ships for platoons. So Kylo Ren's command shuttle, the Phoenix, because apparently you need Thrawn, and I'm not getting Krennic anytime soon. I mean Tarkin anytime soon for his capital ship. So I'm probably gonna try to get the Chimera to 7 stars, and I'm doing the Falcon. Most of those for platoons for my guild, just because we need a few of those on both sides of the territory battles. And after that, once I'm unlocked.
Oh, you unlocked it? Yeah, I didn't unlock mine either. That's a tough one, man. I'm getting bad RNG on those drops.
Same. And then after that, once I finish up, because I'm actually hoarding all my gear, all my resources for Jedi Ray. Once she drops, I'm actually going to start working on my Imperial Troopers, Bounty Hunters, and then Kylo whenever he drops us for to be farmable crew. That is.
Where do you predict he's going to go? Do you think single hard node, or do you think?
I have not looked at where the nodes are. Like veteran Han and Chewie, like I had predicted because they were empty. But let me take a quick look.
There's a number of empty Cantina nodes.
I feel like Kylo Ren might be the new free-to-play Jesus. Maybe he'll go in the Galactic War store or something.
Yeah, he will probably go to a store because he might go into the Galactic War store, because I don't think we've gotten a new character in there
since a long time.
I would spend all my energy on him, man. I'd gear him up.
Just because he's not a top tier, like, you know, top tier a tune. Like he's like a beer, like a mid B tune. So he'll probably go into a store. That's where a lot of the solid B teamers are.
I think he's a really solid tank. I think people underestimate him. Like, I know low level people who unlocked him, and their arena has gone up. Like, they were in 2000 and now they're in 500 because they got Kylo on their team. Versus,
oh no, he's solid. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna farm him. I'm gonna double Zeta him once I get I get him in there. But like I said, he's like, you know, because if you, it's kind of like the Oscar debate. Like, you know, you say, oh, this is a really good movie, but if you look at all the Oscar movies, who would you get out? It's like one of those things. Like, but those A-list teams are just so much better that it's really hard to see, like, oh, is he really in that top tier?
If you're right, though, if you're right about him going in Cantina, he's going to be the top tank in the game for a lot of people, for a lot of free-to-play people. He's going to be like a number one tank for those people. Because the other tanks, Kenobi is a super long farm, right? And then
is he really better than old Ben, though?
No.
yeah. I think he can be. If you have a dark side team,
sad truth, he might not be.
If you have a dark side team, I think he is. Like,
that's my point about light side.
Think about it though. He heals himself, okay, like crazy. He regenerates his own protection. He does all this crazy stuff. He's a very survivable character. So I think for a lot of people, yes, he could be
order stuff.
I think
okay, but here's the thing. If you double Zeta Kylo and you double Zeta Old Ben, you get more better functionality out of Old Ben. Yeah,
so much better.
Sadly, as much as I don't like saying it out loud, it's true.
I mean, Furious. At the end of the day, doesn't it just hurt you to admit that, like, I mean, I like light side, and you hate my roster because I'm so heavy light side, but it's just where the game forces you to go. It's like,
so
I hate it.
You're fighting uphill.
Is
you're
that your
fighting
stuff,
uphill?
Thane?
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, what else are you doing, Thane? Are you doing anything else, or is that the gist of it?
The gist of it. Like I said, I'm getting very picky about who I gear now. Zetaing, I don't know who I'm gonna Zeta after Jedi Ray, but that double Zeta Old Ben is very tempting.
Yeah, it is.
So, that's funny.
What have you been working on?
I've had a lot of awesome stuff happen for me in the game actually recently. So I Zetaed 3 people over the past like 2 weeks. And I Zetaed my Han Solo, my R2-D2, and my Thrawn. So, 3 really good characters all Zetaed, all ready to go. Obviously, the number crunch and the passive on Thrawn, not the leader. And then I threw him in my arena team. I set up a new arena team. I geared up Old Ben to gear 10 because I had the gear and I knew that I could build the gear back up for Luke, which I've already done, by the way. I've already built the gear back up for Luke that I used on old Ben. Part of the reason why I geared Old Ben is because I ended up having to gear Ezra to gear 11 to get my 7-star Thrawn because I did it twice. And I the first time I didn't move any mods. The second time I did, and I was pretty close. And I was like, if I gear 11 Ezra, I got this in the bag. So and I had all the gear already for it. So I just gear 11 Ezra, and bam, that I got Thrawn right there, then and there. Gear 11 Ezra. But I've got all the gear I need back for Luke now, which is good. But my Old Ben's gear 10, and he would be gear 11. If not for one piece of gear. But so basically what I'm using, I switched up my arena team. I'm using Rex lead with Zeta Han, Zeta R2-D2, Old Ben, and Thrawn. And I have been doing so much better in arena because of this team. What's that?
Which Zeta did you give him?
What Zeta did I give who?
Old Ben.
Oh, I didn't say to Old Ben. I didn't say to Old Ben yet. But if I do...
Did you combat analysis for R2?
Yeah, combat analysis, and then for Thrawn, I did his unique Zeta. And It's been working really well. Thrawn hits like a truck, which is awesome. So Thrawn and Han Solo do really good damage together for me. And with old Ben on the team, it's a really good synergy with Thrawn, believe it or not. So that works really well for me. I'm in the top 50 again with this team. And the top 50, and I'm fighting all Gear 12 teams and beating them at Gear 11. So it's...
Imagine what had happened if you Gear 12'd one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good. I'm at rank 40 right now, or I was at rank 40 at least like an hour ago. So, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm happy with that. What else am I doing? Well, with the double drops, I got my Shore Trooper to 16 of 100, which is awesome. I got my Baze to 73 of 85. My Captain Han to 19 of 85. And I'm at 39 of 85 on my first order Stormtrooper. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get him to 7 stars by the time the BB-8 thing comes back, but at this point I'm in on it, so I'm just going to do it. I got really good drops with him, and so yeah. And that's pretty much it right now. That's really what I'm working on. The gear, in terms of gearing, I'm mostly saving a lot of gear. And I plan on gearing Luke when he comes back immediately. Like, just as soon as he comes back, I'm going to gear him up. I plan on probably getting Thrawn to Gear 12 soonish, just because I'm mostly just picking up his gear from the shops as it comes. And whenever I get it, I get it. I don't farm it because it's kind of crap to farm. So I get really crappy drops on the Gear 12 piece that I farm to get him to Gear 12. But as soon as I get that, I'm going to be able to equip all of his gear and get him to Gear 12 immediately. I just need that one piece.
Anything else that you're working on?
Aside from that, yeah, I'm in the background. I'm saving up.
I like how you work on like 5 times as much as everyone else somehow, even though you have the minimal.
Yeah, you refuse to do anything. Hey, do this. No. I'm just gonna work on this.
I'm not working on a bunch.
Sounds like you're pretty spread.
I'm not spread though. I'm really not, because really what it comes down to is I have a crap ton of gear saved up.
For that CLS.
Yeah, for CLS and for General Kenobi, really. And General Kenobi is one of those guys that I want to get to Gear 11.
You don't have Kenobi?
By the end of the year, hopefully.
Wait, unlocked or
no,
7 stars?
Gear 11 by the end of the year is what I'm saying. I want to get him up there by that point. But he needs 7 more Carabantes, and I already have 6 Carabantes saved for Luke, so it's like, but I have all the other gears saved for both him and Luke, aside from the Carabantes, so... Yep, I'm mostly saving gear, honestly. I'm not really gearing anyone big time right now. Just sort of saving
It's the way to do it.
I was just saying, and mostly I'm just starring people is what it comes down to. And then I have to say, the guild stores, I just wanted to say this, I'm super happy with the guild store changes and all the changes they've made to the different stores, because my gear progression has gone up like by 50%. Okay, I'm getting 50% more gear all the time, and it's great. And in addition to that, I'm farming Barriss now from the stores, so by the time I get Kenobi, the gear for Kenobi, I'm probably going to be able to Zeta Barriss and gear her too, so might as well just do that.
Well, I think the big thing with the guild store is that all of a sudden, all the pressure that was put on the Cantina nodes, which kept you from farming mods, which are probably the most important thing of all,
yep.
Is pretty much gone. So I've been killing that.
Oh, I killed mods recently. I meant to say, that's the other thing I did that's exciting. I killed the Resistant mod challenge finally. I beat that. Good
mod.
Yep.
Yeah, and I finally... One, you'll feel good, because that is such a pain in the ass, and then you'll never use a Jawa a day in your life.
God, the Jawas, I just need to get them to Gear 8. Literally, it's going to take me a day. I just need to pick a day to gear the Jawas.
You don't need to get them to Gear 8. You just need to get them to Gear 7.
They're at Gear 7, and I failed. Do I need to mod them?
Yeah, use your arena mods, dude.
Oh, all right. I guess I could do that. I guess.
Plunge. Use your mods. No, but I'm gonna just. I mean, like for me, I probably I was really happy to see Poplu get there. No, I've kind of made Ewoks like inconceivably random side farm, which I have no idea. And I mean, I don't really know when and where I'm going to use them, but like I'm getting Logray and Paplu, and I like saying their names. Like when I buy their shards, they'll go like Logray and then Paplu, and it's like, whatever. It makes me smile a little bit. And
they are Pokemon.
They are totally Pokemon, dude. It's so bad.
Yeah,
so it's like, then sometimes if I feel like really self-conscious about going like Paplu, I'll go Murder Bear, and it's just
No, that's the Wampa. The Wampa's the Murder Bear.
The Wampa is a Murder Bear now.
They had 2 Night Sisters there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They should have a Wampa zombie. That would be a nice little like update, with the leader ability. Dual tag Night Sister. No, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of think that like now the guild store, like they put Sith Assassin, which I've been meaning to farm Sith Assassin since she came out, and like all the tunes that Ayla Secura. Although I think another thing, just another one. I think Sabine is no longer in the guild store. I haven't seen her.
I saw her.
Since
she's there.
Did you since the change? Are you sure?
100%? Yeah, I saw Sabine. Yep.
Right. Calm Reddit down because I was starting to take that one to heart too.
She's nowhere else. There's nowhere else to get her.
Hard node.
It was a hard node, bro.
Yeah, I thought they reduced her to a single hard node farm, which would be like crazy if they did that. But anyway, like when am I going to buy an Ayla Secura shard? But like it's the same thing with like when was I ever going to farm her? But she's there as an option, unfortunately, next to like the gear that I need more than anything. Now, I will say this: like, if they do to Galactic War Store what they did to Cantina Store, this game all of a sudden just got through the gear grind. I mean, that gear that insurmountable obstacle. Now, all of a sudden, everybody can get through the gear grind. So hopefully that's the trend.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that actually earlier today. I was like, it's kind of funny because all the other game changers have been saying like, hey, the wall of entry needs to be lower. The wall of entry needs to be lower. Like, like you need to be able to access these tie-in, tunes earlier. And that's basically what this new shop does. Because now you can be, completely new. You can start right now and get into a half decent or a half decent beginner guild and be doing Rancor like maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and all of a sudden you have access to Barris, Sith Assassin, where like a couple of months ago you had to be mid game to be able to get access to them.
That are really lucky in Bronziums for Barris, which is all my dream playing the game. I unlocked her and I was farming her and I happened to randomly get her in a Bronzium. So it kind of got me through like...
Yeah, me too.
It's like, where was she at like a month ago?
Dude, I'm so happy about Barris because I was not going to do her hard node because I want to finish Captain Han once I'm done with him. Here's the thing is, once I'm done with Han, I think I'm not doing hard nodes because the characters that I wanted, the only hard node I'm going to do is probably Sith Trooper. That's probably what I'm going to do.
Cantina?
Yeah.
Cantina, what about the veterans? Cantina. My God, Valen! Eventually, sometime do the veterans.
Yeah, this time. Eventually, at some point, I'll get there. At some point, I'm so underwhelmed by the prospect of the veterans. Like, just them as characters, I don't care. I know Rey.
That just shows you how good she's gonna be.
Yeah. Well, anyways, what I'm saying is that like. Before the veterans, it was like I was gonna do Captain Han, then maybe Barris, and maybe like Sith Assassin. But now I can do Barris and Sith Assassin from the store, and just do Sith Trooper from the hard nodes.
Well, it pisses me off that I went ahead and got Barris because I was like I needed to get her for when they announced Territory Wars. I started farming Barris. So stupidly I should have just waited.
Yep. See, hey, this is where waiting pays off, like I always say.
It's kind of nice to have like CLS, it's kind of nice to have BB-8. So sure. I panic farm and I set manageable goals and I accomplish those goals.
Admit that sometimes you panic farm and it's like it wasn't really worth it sometimes. Like the
or they add something. Well, the Barris thing, yeah. I mean, in hindsight, if I would have known she was going to be added to an easily attainable store, obviously I'd rather do that and farm mods.
Yep. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Is I'm probably going to end up farming mods mostly.
Gear, like the only tune I'm farming from.
Yes.
From the guild shop is Steric. I'm only farming Steric and
you can't
everything
be
else
situationally British. Dude, you can't be situationally British. All right? It's how they say St. John. Like if you spell out the name St. John, which is St.John, they don't say St. John. They say St. John. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. That's how Steric comes from that.
The only reason I'm getting Steric is for my guild, and that's about it.
And you refuse to fix it. I love it.
It bothers Brendo so much. I love it. It's great.
Well, it does. It's
the Imperials are British. The Imperials are British, man. I'm just respecting what the Imperial, and that's rare for me. That's rare for me.
Well, that's how they did it in the 70s.
You know,
because rebels are British.
Hey, how about this sidebar? How about the guy that played Veers? Played the guy from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and then played Grandmaster Pycelle in Game of Thrones. Like, is this guy like the ultimate like actor in the Nerdverse?
The ultimate? No,
yes.
No. You know who's the ultimate actor in the Nerdverse is oh man, what's his name now? He's appeared in like freaking
Patrick Stewart,
everything. Well, Patrick Stewart's all over the place. Freaking Patrick Stewart, man.
Mark Wahlberg. Wahlberg's our Sir Alec Guinness.
There's this one guy that's in like all the TV shows and like he appears in like all sorts of movies. It's insane, and I can't remember his name.
Well, what's he been in?
Well, the British guy.
Pretty much any TV show you can think of that's a nerd TV show, he's been on it once. Right? He's been a guest actor. He's been
Stan Lee.
No,
Stan Lee.
I heard he's been in a few.
I'll have to look it up and let you know. But...
It's like the American version of that.
Yeah, it's an American.
Joss Whedon show.
It's an American.
And he was in the Rogue One. So you got to figure that's credibility.
Are you talking about the guy? He was in the newest Star Trek, and he's the guy that says broadcast, and he's got to sit at the desk. I think of his name. Is that the guy you're talking about?
I have not seen Star Trek, so I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, well, finish that out and put that on the podcast channel, and we'll mention it next week.
Okay, all right.
But let me just wrap up here, and then let's turn this page on this 4-hour podcast. So I guess I think I've been productive here. Like I used my free Zeta to go OG Han, and that's a lot of fun.
Isn't he awesome?
The nice thing, he really is, and the nice thing about him is he's another tool in the toolbox that I could use for like anything that I want, and he's just a lot of fun. Dude, so I don't regret that.
He makes my team. Like he makes my arena team.
He's crazy good just to take a piece off the table, and and then you could pair him with somebody else who does that, like Thrawn, and it's just a control match.
Yep.
Nihilus, and it's funny how high end arena, like on one level, the damage, he has great damage, don't get me wrong, but the damage is almost irrelevant. It's just about control, and it's just about
stunning.
Yes, doing whatever he can to control the board. But like he definitely does that, and he just hits like a truck, so it's a lot of fun with him. But I think my power's like been productive. I think I went up like 100,000 power, and like just by doing a couple ships too. I find ships are like a great way to like give yourself empty power and just deal with that. But the vets, I did well in double drops. I think I got I need 15 more shards for Han to get him to 6 stars, and I only want to take him to 20 out of 100. So really, I only need 35 more shards for him. I have not touched Chewie yet, so he's 15 out of 30. But I have, I have crystals, and I just don't want to. I'd like to minimize what I put into this as much as possible, so I could use that for gear, and but we'll see how that works. That's kind of a dark thing, but I'm not gonna not get Jedi Ray. That's just the only thing that's gonna kill me is if they make Millennium Falcon a requirement, which would just be like that would kill me if you need a 7-star.
That's Falcon. The only thing that would make me stop farming the vets if I'm not done with them, is because I'm not gonna spring the money to get Millennium Falcon.
The Falcon's kind of a crap ship too. Let's be honest. Like it's not that good.
It is. It was once good, but now it sucks.
It's slow.
It was good when it first came out.
Every time I've gone up against it, I've just destroyed it immediately. It's not even.
Well,
funny.
Yeah, same with me. It's like if you see it in an arena, you kill the Falcon because, like, and really, I only saw it a couple times on my shards, so. The people that had it never used it because it sucked. And it was really only good when, like, Jedi Consular ship was the best ship in the game for, like, 2 weeks, and it just all changed.
I remember people going like, "Hey, dude, farm Jedi Counselor, man." I'm like, no.
Yeah. It was he had the best ship because he had an assist. You know?
You guys mean the Jedi Consular? Jesus.
Counselor?
What was I saying?
Freaking counselor. Guys are saying he's a counselor.
I think I was saying counselor.
It's consular.
Man, the speech on this podcast is like just messed up. All the speech.
We'll have like maybe a little.
My Jedi counselor, bro.
We got to have like a teach you how to pronounce words in Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, I'll nail it.
No, but and then what else? Shore Trooper's almost done. I need like 50 shards for him
to unlock him. Or to finish him.
But it's like Veers. Veers is coming along quickly. I picked him up. I was kind of half farming Jedi Knight Anakin with my extra light side dark side energy, but now that all goes to Veers, and I'm doing a Falcon every day. Doing a Krennic every day. Got Krennic most of the way through the 85 levels. So I guess that's 5-star. Doing dark side for a long time, but it's such a slog, man. And then now I'm not doing my refreshes because I'm putting it all into Cantina refreshes. So it's sort of like everything's slowed for the vets, and it sucks. But it's a vet heavy time. I will say that I'm farming my Ewoks a little bit out of the guild store.
That's fun.
Lots of gear.
What happened to Barris?
I had like 20 farmed. I finished her months ago.
Oh, you did?
That was early.
Okay.
Yeah, because as soon as they announced Territory Wars, it was like I need a healer, I need Barris, I need to work on this because you just need to do it. So I bit the bullet on her, and
not doing Star.
I am. Yeah, I need 45 more shards to unlock him. Well, I mean, he's just assumed. I just assume we're all farming him.
I'm not right now. I want to finish Barris before I move on to him. Quite frankly.
Well, that's. I mean, but you need him for the territory. You need him.
Yeah.
He's a required character.
I get it.
All right. But anyway,
all right. I'm signing off.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sign off here too. But
goodbye.
Guys,
wait, let's actually end it for real, please. Can we?
Okay. All right. Yes. All right. So everybody, thank you for tuning in for our rather convoluted but hopefully informative, insightful, fun, and we'll say this podcast had some pomp and circumstance for all the changes in the game, but it was a lot of fun. And just like, share, and subscribe us. Try to promote us. For now, we're signing off. The Future Whales. Thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely day, everybody.